Hi, Robert. This is Frank from the DA's office. I just got your email about a case that you were asking about for Jacqueline Vallejo.
Yeah, I'm sorry, did you say Frank?
Yes.
Can you put yourself on mute?
Is that Mr. Cantu? Yeah, okay. All right. Who do we have on the second floor?
From the 406, Gilberto Vela Jr., Gilberto Vela Jr., 406.
Mr. Salinas, are you are on this case as well?
Yes, Your Honor, I believe so. However, I was going to make a quick announcement before. This is an arraignment.
Yeah, well, let me call the case and then you can make the announcement. The court calls 2021 CRI 715D4, State of Texas versus Gilberto Vela Jr. Mr. Vela, you understand English?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Vela is actually set for two other arraignments in the 406 on August 3rd. And both of those cases, he's being represented by attorney Victor Villafranca. I have no issue arraigning him today, but we would ask the court to take into consideration the other two cases and possibly appoint Mr. Villafranca to this case so he could be handling all three cases.
And did you said all of them are in the 406?
That's correct, Your Honor. And I have those cause numbers if you would like to have them.
Well, I think, well, somebody will have to have them just to make sure.
Yeah, the cause numbers are 21 CRI 612 D4 and 2021 CRI 613 D4. Those are both set for arraignment on August 3rd.
Well, let's go ahead and get them arraigned on this one, and then we'll set this case on the 3rd.
Yes, Your Honor. At this time, Mr. Vela pleads not guilty. We waive the reading of the indictment, and we request our next court date.
Ms.
August 3rd at 8:30 a.m.
Perfect. All right. And who'll be submitting the order appointing Mr. Villafranca? Pretrial services, are you still handling that?
Good afternoon. Yes, good afternoon, Judge Carlos Parra for pretrial services. I can submit the order appointing Mr. Villafranca after court, and I'll let him know about the attorney change as well.
Got it. Mr. Vela, did you get all of that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, you'll be back in court on the 3rd of August at 8:30.
Yes, sir.
The parties and the attorneys on this case are excused.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Judge, I'm sorry, I don't have the docket for the 406.
There's only 3 cases,
Okay, no worries.
and
No
I
worries.
think Mr. Lozano has cases in the 406 and 341st. So who do we have next on the first floor?
Yeah, he's in the chair, Your Honor. 406, 341st, Bruce Zachary Lozano.
Okay, so on the 406 case, that's on page 3. On what page is he on? In the 341st?
It's on page 4, Your Honor, and on page 6. And it's a plea.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Juan Garcia for Mr. Lozano.
He's going to be pleading on the 341st case.
That's correct.
Is that going to include the ones he has pending in the 406, Mr. Garcia?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Your Honor, if I may, Elizabeth Castillo on behalf of the state, the case in the 406 is a revocation.
Oh. Oh, it is.
Yes, Your Honor. They're all time to serve.
On the plea package, yes, on the plea package, though, I have. Okay, I said they're all gonna run concurrent. I see it. Okay, let me call the 3 cases and then we'll go forward. Good afternoon, Mr. Lozano. You understand English?
Yes, sir.
Okay, the court calls 18 CRM 22D4 State of Texas versus Bruce Lozano. And then the 341st also calls 2019 CRH 1276D3. And on page 6,
Uh-uh.
2020 CRO 1126D3. So let's go ahead and take the 406. The 406 and post a sentence on that one if we have to, and then we'll do the plea. Mr. Lozano, can you please raise your right hand so you can be sworn in by the clerk?
Do you solemnly swear testimony you will give in this cause now on trial is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you.
What are the conditions that he violated on the motion to revoke?
It is condition number 1, condition 2, condition 5, condition 11, and condition 26, Your Honor. Would you like for me to read them?
Mr. Garcia, do you require that?
We were reading, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Lozano, I'm sure you've had a chance to talk to your attorney about what's happening on this motion to revoke.
Yes, sir.
Okay. The state is alleging that you violated conditions 1, 2, what were the other ones?
1, 2, 5, 11, and 26, Your Honor.
As to those violations, Mr. Lozano, how do you plead, true or not true? Are you pleading true because you did in fact commit those violations?
No,
I didn't hear your answer.
I didn't commit those violations.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Move up closer, sir, so I can hear you clearer. The defendant, please.
There you go, Mr. Lozano. We're having trouble hearing you, and now we lost his video.
Didn't commit those violations.
Thank you, sir. No, we got that part.
Deputy, the video went out.
Was this an adjudicated violation?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. What is the recommendation from the state regarding punishment?
Paul Thompson for the state, Your Honor. I believe we agreed on 3 years to serve.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Mr. Lozano, you have anything to say before the judge, before the court imposes sentence for your violations?
No, Your Honor.
The court is going to sentence you to 3 years to serve in a state prison. Are there any other conditions or terms that we need to put on the record?
Just that it runs concurrent with his other sentences, Your Honor.
Well, that's part of the plea package, so that pending acceptance of that, I don't see any reason why the court wouldn't approve that, but the court has noted that that is indicated in the plea package for the 31st. Anything further then on the motion to revoke?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, moving on to the cases in the 341st. Mr. Lozano, I'll just remind you that we're now going to move on to the other 2 cases that you have pending in the 341st. You're still under oath. Do you understand that? Is that a yes? Can you hear me, Mr. Lozano?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you understand you're still under oath, right?
Yes, sir.
You're here present with your attorney, and the state and your attorney have informed me that you have entered into a plea agreement. There's certain things I need to cover before we go forward and first, I need to ask you to state your complete legal name.
Zachary Lozano.
And have you had an opportunity to visit with your attorney and ask him questions about your case?
What was that, Your Honor?
Have you had time to talk to your attorney and ask him questions about your case?
Yes, sir.
Are you satisfied with the services Mr. Garcia has provided?
Yes, sir.
Is there anything that I need to know about your medical condition that prevents you from understanding what we're doing here today?
No, sir.
Mr. Garcia, do you believe your client is competent to go forward today?
I do, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Lozano, even though you've indicated in the document that I have in front of me that you're waiving certain rights, I want to cover some of those to make sure you understand which rights you're giving up, okay?
Sure.
And the first right you're giving up is that you don't have to enter into a plea agreement today. You have the right to remain silent, and you have a right to have a jury determine whether you're guilty or not, and also determine your punishment. Do you understand? And if there's witnesses against you, you have a right, your attorney, both of you would have a right to ask them questions at trial. There's witnesses against you. If we go forward today, do you understand that you're giving up those rights?
Yes, sir.
And I have to ask everybody this, are you a US citizen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and even though you're telling me you are a US citizen, I still have to admonish everyone that if you are not a US citizen, pleading guilty could affect your right to remain in the country. You could be denied re-entry, and also you could be denied the right to become a naturalized citizen. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Garcia, does the defense waive formal reading of the indictment?
We do, Your Honor.
As to the first count of the indictment, Mr. Lozano, evading arrest with the use of a vehicle, felony 3, how do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
And as to count 2, evading arrest, a class A misdemeanor, how do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
And are you pleading guilty voluntarily and freely?
Yes, sir.
Has anybody forced you to plead guilty?
No.
And aside from the agreement that you have with the state of Texas, has anybody promised you anything else for pleading guilty?
No, sir.
And you're pleading guilty because you're accepting responsibility for the 2 offenses?
Yes, sir.
Now, I do have to admonish you regarding the range of punishment for a felony 3 and a class A misdemeanor in the state of Texas. If you're found guilty, the maximum sentence for a felony 3 in the state of Texas is confinement in a state prison for a term of 2 to 10 years and a fine not to exceed $10,000. The punishment range for a class A misdemeanor in the state of Texas, if you're found guilty, is a term not to exceed 1 year in county jail and a fine not to exceed $4,000. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
One of the other rights that you might be giving up or are giving up, Mr. Lozano, is that if I sentence you along the lines of the agreement that you have with the state, you have to accept that punishment and you cannot appeal it unless you get special permission from this court. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
I have in front of me a document that's been labeled State's Exhibit. Well, should I put 1 and 2?
Yes, please, Your Honor.
Okay.
Actually, Your Honor, I don't think we submitted an offense report with that one, so it would just be 1.
Well, no, I have 2 different plea packages,
Oh, yes, Your Honor.
2 separate plea packages. So if there's an offense or anything else that's added, we can do that as A and B or whatever. So exhibit number 1, in regards to the felony 3, and number 2 is the plea package for the misdemeanor. Did you go over these documents with your attorney and ask him questions about everything that was contained in there?
Yes, sir.
And you signed it?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions about the plea packages that you signed?
No, sir.
Is the state offering exhibits number 1 and number 2 into evidence?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections from the defense?
No objections, Your Honor.
State's exhibits 1 and 2 are admitted into evidence. Knowing all the rights and everything we've discussed, Mr. Lozano, do you still want to go forward with your guilty plea?
Yes, sir.
Based on the documents submitted to the court, the admitted evidence, and your testimony, Mr. Lozano, the court is going to find you guilty of the offense of evading arrest with the use of a vehicle, felony 3, and of count 2, evading arrest, a class A misdemeanor. I find that your plea of guilty was made freely and voluntarily. Is there anything we need to cover before moving on to the punishment phase?
No, sir.
Anything?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Having found you guilty of the 2 offenses of evading arrest with a vehicle and evading arrest, Mr. Lozano, the court is going to sentence you along the lines of the agreement that you have with the state of Texas. For count 1, you're going to serve 3 years in a state prison. And for count 2, the class A misdemeanor, 1 year in a county jail, but you'll serve that time in the state prison. The court will approve the recommendation that this sentence of 3 years are going to run concurrent. That means that they'll all run together. And that'll run concurrent with the violation, the motion to revoke we discussed earlier. And just so that we were specific on cause number CRH 12763 and cause number 2018 CRM 22D4. The court will give you credit for time served. The court will assess court costs on the felony only and will waive court costs on the class A misdemeanor. What do we have in court costs for the felony?
Court costs, I had it all together. I'm sorry, Judge.
That's all right.
25. I had it the other way around. Apologize.
That's okay. Don't worry.
Let me just check the warrant, see how much warrants he had, and then I'll give you the court card.
What about, are there attorney's fees?
No, Judge, it's just the court cost because he's gonna serve time.
Okay.
I'm almost through. One, two. It's $475, Judge.
And that will be ordered. Anything else from probation on this?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Anything further from the defense?
No, Your Honor.
All right. All right, Mr. Lozano, you have any questions before I remand you to the custody of the sheriffs?
No, Your Honor.
All right, good luck, sir. I hope,
Judge, may I?
yes.
He has another plea on page 4.
Oh, he
Is
does?
this Bruce Lozano?
Your Honor.
I thought we were, okay, we just did the 2016. I thought I called both cases.
No, on this case, he has like 6 counts on the 2019 CRH 1276D3.
Okay, so we just split out the 1126.
That's correct.
Okay. And he's got a separate plea now. Okay. I'm sorry. Okay, so the court is going to withdraw State's Exhibit number 2 on this case. And the only document admitted is Exhibit number 1, State number 1.
Okay, Judge.
Thought they were joint packages of the same. Okay. All right, hold on, Mr. Lozano. Okay, that makes sense. So this one, let's see. All right, the court now calls 2019 CRH 1276. And that one's on page 4.
That's correct.
If I'm reading this correctly, we're going to proceed on counts 1 through 4 and 5.
That's correct.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, Mr. Lozano, I thought we were doing both, but this is a separate plea. Do you have any questions about what's happening right now?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, we're going to do the second plea now. So again, I'm going to go, since it's a separate case, I have to go through the same admonishments just to make sure. Again, I've already got your name for the record, but in this case, involving the 6 counts, have you also had an opportunity to ask questions of your attorney?
Yes.
Yes. And are you satisfied with the services he provided on this case?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there anything that I need that, again, is there anything that prevents you from understanding what's happening here today?
No, sir.
Mr. Garcia, is your client competent to go forward today?
He is, Your Honor.
Okay, and also on this case, Mr. Lozano, you have the right to have a jury hear this case. You have the right to remain silent and a jury to assess punishment. And also, if there's witnesses against you, you have the right to ask them questions. And also on this case, if I go along with the agreement and sentence you along the lines of this agreement, you will not be able to appeal the punishment unless you get special permission from this court. Do you understand that you're waiving these rights?
Sir.
And earlier, and again, the same question, you told me you are a U.S. citizen, correct?
Yes, sir.
And the same admonishment, if you're not a U.S. citizen, you could be deported, denied re-entry, or denied the right to become a legalized citizen. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Does the defense waive formal reading of the indictment?
We do, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Lozano, as to counts 1 through 4, which is aggravated robbery with a deadly weapon, felony 1, how do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty, Your Honor.
And as to count 5 of the indictment, burglary of a habitation with to commit other felonies, also a felony 1, how do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty, Your Honor.
Are you pleading guilty to these offenses freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
Has anybody forced you to plead guilty to these charges?
No, sir.
And aside from the agreement you have with the state, has anyone promised you anything else?
No.
Are you accepting responsibility for these offenses?
Yes, sir.
I do have to admonish you that the range of punishment for pleading guilty and being found guilty for an offense, a first-degree felony offense in the state of Texas, is confinement for a term of 5 to 99 years in a state prison, and and a fine not to exceed $10,000. Do you understand that? Did you also have the opportunity to review the plea package regarding the aggravated robbery and the burglary with your attorney?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions regarding what you signed?
No, sir.
Is the state offering State's Exhibit 1 into evidence?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections?
No objections, Your Honor.
State's Exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Having discussed this again, Mr. Lozano, do you still want to go forward with your plea of guilty?
Yes, yes, sir.
Mr. Lozano, based on your testimony and the evidence before the court is going to find you guilty of the offense on the 4 counts of aggravated robbery with a deadly weapon, felony 1, and count 5, burglary of a habitation with the intent to commit other felonies or theft, also a felony 1. I find that the plea you made was willing and voluntarily. Anything further before we move on to punishment? Mr. Garcia?
No, Your Honor.
Your Honor, I just wanted to advise the court that we did, when we indicted the defendant, he was indicted with possessing a deadly weapon when he committed the offenses.
I thought I covered that when I asked him how he pled.
Right, yes, Your Honor, I'm just asking that be made, that be entered on the record as far as his sentence is concerned.
Oh, okay. Mr. Lozano, having found you guilty of the offense of aggravated robbery with the use of a deadly weapon for which you were indicted, the court is going to sentence you to a term of, is that a 7?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. To a term of 7 years to be served in a state prison. There is no fine. The court will also approve the recommendation to dismiss count 6 of the indictment. The court will also approve that this sentence of 7 years or the other sentences will run concurrent with this one, specifically cause number 2020 CR 01126D3 and cause number 2018 CRM 22D4.
Your Honor, I'm sorry, I put the wrong letter. It should be CRH, not CRO.
I'm going to make the adjustment here, CRH 1126. So
Yes.
that cause number 2020 CRH 1126 D3 will run concurrent.
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
That's all right.
Just making sure that I put the right, I'm sorry. I think this one, my case was the H and that one was the O. I'm sorry, I had it, because on the other sentence, you said it the other way around, but I'm sorry, it was correct.
Okay,
This is H, the other one was O. I apologize.
let me make sure.
Not both.
So the evading arrest, yes, okay, you have H here as well on the 2019 CRH. Okay, that matches. Okay. Any questions about what just happened, Mr. Garcia?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. And I also mentioned 2018 CRM 22D4. Now, do we have any court costs that need to be assessed on this?
Yes, Judge. Do you want all of them or just as to count one?
Well, we can assess them as to count 1 through 4, I guess.
1 through 4, okay. Let me just,
Right. I'm sorry, Your Honor, wouldn't that be 1 through 5?
Oh, okay. That's right, because count 6, 1 through 5.
5? 2, 3, 4.
Yes, because count 6 is being dismissed. In which court? 49th?
Yeah.
All right, the 49th stack is over here.
So that would be $2,090, Judge.
Yeah, on behalf of my client, I'd like to ask if those fees can be waived since he's doing 7 years to serve.
I won't waive all of them, Mr. Garcia, but I will assess the 475 as I did in the last case.
Thank you, Your Honor.
It would be 930, Judge.
Yeah, but I'm only gonna assess it as, well, I mean, you can do it anyway as to count 1.
Okay, Judge.
Count 1 will be assessed court costs in the amount of 475. Counts 2 through 5, the court will waive any court costs. Anything further, Mr. Garcia?
No, Your Honor.
Anything from the state, I guess? Now, Mr. Lozano, good luck, sir. I hope the time passes fast.
All right. Thank you, boss.
All right, take care, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. I believe that's all I have. May I be excused?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Garcia.
Have a good day, Judge.
Thank you. Who do we have on this? I think that concludes everything for the 406, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct, Your Honor.
So I guess the staff for the 406, if you want, you're excused. Unless there's something else. I don't think there is.
No, that's it, Judge.
All right, thank you, you all. We'll see you all tomorrow morning, 8:30. Well, the civil people anyways. Who do we have on the second floor?
Under from the 331st, Carlos Daniel Flores, 331st.
It's on page 3, Judge.
The court calls 2019 CRD 1534 D3, State of Texas versus Carlos Daniel Flores.
Good afternoon, Judge. Mr. Flores is not being held for this case, and he's being held for a case at County Court 2, which he's already received a bond for. We could just have a reset for an out of custody docket. It should be for a plea.
So I think the last one we set was for August. So he's gonna, we need in custody or he's gonna stay in, right?
I think he should be released soon because he already got a PR bond for the case that's holding him in. It's just pending signature by the judge.
Okay, so then what do we have up for the regular plea docket?
Regular docket, Your Honor, it's August 19 at 8:30.
Thank you.
Mr. Flores, did you understand all of that? Mr. Flores, can you hear me?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Your plea is being reset for the 19th of August at 8:30. You need to make sure you stay in contact with your attorney and you show up. It sounds like you're gonna be released. A PR bond. So make sure you don't miss that date, okay? All right, good luck, sir. We'll see you then.
Your Honor, I have 2 quick announcements.
Okay, but
The 49th And I'm sorry, Your Honor. I was waiting for Your Honor to come on in the regular line at the 49.
No, I think Judge Lopez has his own docket going right now on something else. But I mean, what, are you on this docket on the 49th? Your clients
Yeah.
are waiting in line. I don't know that we can just bring them out. Does your announcements require them to be present?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Do you know what page you're on?
No, I don't, Your Honor. But I've got the clause number.
What, no, the names is
He's
better.
on page one of them, it's Michael Richard Uribe. Sir, motion setting.
What's the announcement on 2021 CRH 409D1?
There is nothing, Your Honor, and just leave it for the next hearing.
Balma, what do we have for Mr. Sosa?
It'll be August 19th, Judge, for a final pretrial at 1:15 p.m.
I guess.
And then this gentleman, the other case that I have, Your Honor, is Andre Jean Courtois.
What?
What's the name?
On page 3?
Oh, yes, at the bottom, Judge.
Yeah, I got it.
Your Honor, I just came into that case about 20 days ago. Mr. Oscar Peña Sr. had it first, and the public defenders had it, and then I took over for the public defenders, and I just took over in July. The docket sheet says,
Yeah, you're set for final
It says-
hearing.
7.
So what's the announcement on this, Mr. Sosa?
I just need more time, Your Honor.
Same date, Judge, if you want to give him, August 19th for another MTR final hearing.
August 19th at 1:15?
Yes, Judge.
Okay. All right, Mr. Sosa, if they bring them out, we'll let them know, but you may want to go visit with them.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
That's all I have. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Judge,
Yes.
Judge, on page 1, Ruben Botello, the 341st docket. Mark Gonzalez filed a motion to substitute counsel. It was granted, and he's requesting a reset. He's in federal court. He wants the August 12th at 9 a.m.
Okay, who's that for the 341st? Who am I talking to?
Raquel on the 341st. I gave him August 12th at 9 a.m. for an MTR arraignment.
That's Ruben Botello, Ms. Raquel?
Yes, Ruben Botello Jr. Reset for August 12th at 9 a.m.
Who's the new attorney?
Mark Gonzalez.
All right, so we'll take that off the docket then. Who did we leave off with? Are we on the second or the fourth floor? The fourth floor?
Fourth floor, Your Honor. 341st, Jessica Reyes. 341st, Jessica Reyes.
Page 2, Judge.
Is this the compliance hearing?
No, Your Honor, it's an MTR.
I'm sorry, what page was it on?
Page 2.
The court calls 2016 CRD 1147D3, State of Texas versus Jessica Reyes.
There's a close-up of that.
Afternoon, Judge.
Good afternoon, Mr. Garcia.
Your Honor, we have, this is Ms. Calderon's case.
I saw her. I think there she is.
Yes, Your Honor, we have an agreement for the defendant to plead true to conditions except for condition one, and I know Mr. Garcia is attending another hearing, so I'll state the
No,
condition.
I'm here. I'm sorry. I was in the middle of mediation, but no, Judge, we have an agreement. I wanted to see if I could read into the record and make sure that I'm okay. I just wanted to make sure the record was clear and that Jessica could hear it, if that's okay, Judge.
Sure, it's your case, Mr. Garcia. Ms. Reyes? Can you hear us okay? Is she, well, we'll swear her in if we have to. Is she gonna plead true today or?
Yes,
She's
Your
gonna plead true today, Judge. The offer is 2 years time to, for time to serve and credit for any time that she has already. But there's multiple cases and that's why I wanted to read into the record, Judge.
You may proceed, Mr. Garcia.
Judge, in this particular case, Jessica Reyes is going to plead true to 2016 CRD 001147D3, which is a possession of a controlled substance, and true to the violation of a new charge that was filed against her, Judge. Now, including in the offer of 2 years, we're asking for any credit that she should receive for time already served. Along with this case, Your Honor, there is a case out of the 111th, 2018 CRM, as in Michael, 001482 D2. That is a possession of controlled substance, failure to identify and possession of marijuana. That will be agreed to 1245, Judge. The DAs will 1245 that one. There is a robbery felony 2 case, date of arrest June 6th of 2020. That is going to be NFAP'd, Your Honor, by the District Attorney's Office. There's also a possession of a controlled substance, state jail felony, date of arrest of June 4th, 2021. That will also be NFAP'd. And my understanding, Judge, is that we have, let's see here. My understanding from what it is that we were able to figure out, Judge, is that there's a total of possibly 310 days total from what I've calculated, and we want just that on the record to make sure that I think out of the 341st, there's a total of 47 days out of the 2018 case, Your Honor. There is, let's see.
Mr. Garcia, I don't think she's able to get credit for other cases unless.
Well, to get credit legally for whatever it is that the court could give her credit for, so the disposition is properly stated. Ultimately, that when it's sent to the state jail facility, that's what I wanted to just make sure that the record was clear on that. That's all.
Yeah.
Whatever the court could give me as credit for time served, that's what I'm asking for, Judge.
I mean, unless probation has exact numbers, I mean, I can make the pronouncement that she'll get time for credit, you know.
What happens, Judge, is that the court will ask the jail, I believe, as to the credit for anything that she's served for the cases that she's at least that have been filed against her and that are being taken care of, Judge. There's 3 cases or 2 cases that have not been filed. Is that correct, Ms. Calderon?
Yes, the ones that are going to be not accepted for prosecution.
Okay.
And I'm not opposed to for credit to be given. I just would like some clarification. I'm not sure if probation is able to give that time because I know she went to facilities, inpatient facilities as well.
Ms. Calderon, I know they will give me the credit only for the case that she's sentenced with the 2016 CRD 1147 and the credit for the facility.
And also for the 2018 1484?
If it's a D3, yes.
Yes, it's out of well, this one's out of the 111th. It's being rolled together.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, we need to check that with Mr. Vera.
It's that one's going to be 1245.
Okay, thank you.
The 1482 D2 is going to be 1245, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
The 1484 D2 is going to be 1245. Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Okay, are we ready to go forward?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Reyes, can you please raise your right hand so you can be sworn in?
Do you solemnly swear testimony you will give in this cause now in trial is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you.
Is your true and correct name Jessica Reyes?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Mr. Garcia, thank you for complicating my life here a little bit.
You're very welcome.
If I understood, she's going to be pleading true to every condition except number 1, right?
I believe that's, I'm
Yes,
sorry, go ahead.
yes, I only said that, Mr. Garcia, because of the NAPs that are coming with
Yes.
condition 1. So everything else except 1, Your Honor.
Mr. Reyes, we're here on the representations of your attorney that you've reached an agreement regarding the motion to revoke. The state has alleged that you violated all the conditions of probation except for number 1. Has your attorney explained to you what's happening here today? Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And as to the violations, all the violations that they claimed you violated, except for number 1, how do you plead, true or not true?
True, Your Honor.
Are you pleading true freely and voluntarily?
Yes, Your Honor.
Based on your testimony, Ms. Reyes, the court is going to find that you have violated terms, all the terms except for number 1. Ms. Calderon, could you restate the agreement that you have with the state, I mean, with the defense on this case? Or
Yes, yes, Your Honor. In exchange for, well, the state is asking for the defendant to serve 2 years at the state jail facility to be revoked for this case from probation. The state, in exchange, will be taken into consideration by 1245, cost number 2018 CRM 1484 D2. And we will also not accept for prosecution DA numbers 49-20-04177, which is a robbery with a date of office of May 16, 2020. And as well as DA number DC-21-04194, a possession controlled substance, state jail felony, and the date of office on that is June 4, 2021. And we are not objecting to any credit to be given for the time she's already served.
okay. Ms. Reyes, having found that you have pled or have pled true to the violations, the court is going to sentence you to 2 years to serve in a state prison. The court will grant the 1245 motion and consider 2018 CRM 1482 D2. And also note that the 2 other charges involving robbery and what was the second?
Possession controlled substance.
Possession of a controlled substance. The court will also approve any appropriate credit for time served.
I have a question, Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that including the time that I was up at the Henry unit in Dayton, Texas?
Can somebody, I didn't catch that. They're a really bad echo.
Okay, well, I be given credit for the time I was at Henry unit, the safety program. It's a prison.
Was it Miss, who was it that said that? I think they said she was in a safety program, wasn't she?
Yes, Your Honor, this is Marlene Garza for the probation department. She was in safety, Your Honor, and the credit would be provided by the jail, Your Honor. They would be able to provide you with the amount of days she served.
So, yeah, her question was whether that's an acceptable form of credit for time served.
If it is court ordered, Your Honor.
I mean, I have a compliance report that looks letter, which looks like it was. I can't say for sure. Mr. Reyes, the best I can tell you right now is that you're going to be given all the time that you're legally entitled to receive as far as credit goes. What probation is saying, if they, were you ordered to attend the,
Yes, Your Honor, I was.
okay. Then you should also get credit for that as well.
Your Honor, is it possible to be given time at county instead of having to go upstate?
I think you're entitled to that, but not if you're being held on a capias.
Well, that's the reason why I'm here in front of the court, Your Honor. And from my understanding, they're all being rolled together. Am I correct?
Yeah, they are bundled. And Mr. Garcia, maybe you can shed some light on this because I don't know what she was in for, what she had a capias.
She was in for a new arrest, Your Honor, but the MTR also was filed by the district attorney's office. It was a second or third MTR, I believe, on the 2016 case, Judge.
So when she was arrested for that, then she would not get credit because it was a motion.
Well, for the most recent arrest, that I couldn't tell you, but there was a filing from the district attorney's office for a new MTR. And so when she was arrested and served with that MTR, then she should be getting credit for any time after the service of the MTR. Is that right, Ms. Calderon?
Yes, that's correct.
And just as the mechanics of how this works, I would assume that the county jail, our county jail, would submit a report as to that effect.
It's going to be requested by I believe by the clerk of the court, Your Honor, straight to the jail to ask for any and all time. And I believe Ms. Reyes is correct. She was court ordered to do the time at the facility. And I would also re-urge or just to have the court also consider that if it is ordered by the court that any and all time that's acceptable under the law, that should be given credit for that time, Judge.
Well, yeah, I think I said that already. So
yeah,
that would be approved. Yeah, and I would imagine that it was court order. I mean, in the time I've been in the drug court, I don't think anyone's volunteered for that.
No.
Your Honor, Corporal Reyes, just to clarify, we only give her credit time here at the county jail, and we have no knowledge of how much time she might have spent at a facility.
Yeah, but I understand that, but if the court ordered her to attend that facility.
Right, but we have no knowledge of how much time she was spent. I don't know if probation has.
Yeah, that'll come, the information will come from a different place.
Correct.
Okay. The bottom line is, Ms. Reyes, and the best answer I can give you is that you're going to get full credit for what you're entitled to get credit for, okay? Your attorney has estimated that it's a little over 300 days, but I can't guarantee you that at this point, okay? But I am awarding that, so your attorney knows how to fight for that. I'm sure he'll clarify it for you. Right, Mr. Garcia?
Alexa, the court knows it was 9 months at the facility, and from my understanding, it's 5 or 6 months here at the county for the MTR.
I mean, I'm having a really hard time understanding what.
That it was 9 months in a state facility.
Well, yes, ma'am, I understand that, but all of that has to be confirmed. I can't just take it on your word or your attorney's word.
Okay, Your Honor, another question. Will I be doing time in the state facility, or can I be doing it here at the county jail?
Mr. Garcia, can you?
My understanding, Judge, is that you cannot spend any time from a state jail facility time in the county jail unless it's ordered. Most of the time, Your Honor, that I've seen is that state jail facility time is usually have to serve there at the facility. That's my understanding.
No, I understand that. I mean, I've granted her what she's entitled to. We don't have the numbers. I don't know what else we need to.
No, I think she's asking if she can do the county time instead of the state jail time there at county. Can she serve out her time from the state jail there at county is what she's asking. And I'm answering to say, I don't believe that that's possible.
No, because it's more than a year that she's been sentenced.
And again, what she's saying is that she thinks that her credit takes her under that period of time, but I'm not sure. And I know that the court needs to be, receive verification of that.
Okay, I understand now. So if she gets credit,
And it takes her under a year. She's
Yep.
wondering
But
of it
I-
there in the county.
but she's still being sentenced over a year.
Yes, that's true.
If I may, I can go ahead and verify how many days with the ISF coordinator. If you can go ahead and recall the case.
So what do you want to do, Mr. Garcia? You want to wait?
Well, to be honest with you, Judge, I'll leave it at the court's discretion. I mean, it's an issue of credit. As long as she's receiving the credit that she's due under the law, I'm fine with it.
I've already ruled on that, so I'm
620-8421.
unfortunate. I mean, well,
Thank you.
if she's not entitled to that, I can't change that at this point.
I'm only asking that she receive her credit. That's all I know that was a deal that I had with the district attorney's office. So
Mr. Garcia, Mr. Garcia, Judge, also, Silverio Martinez, if I may, I'm listening to what you're saying. Under 1244, the court can still do that and bring her under a Class A sentence, even though it's a state jail felony.
Your Honor, that's not the agreement with the state.
I was about to say that. That's not part of the agreement that the court
yeah,
approved.
but I appreciate it, Mr. Martinez.
Okay, sorry about that.
No, I understand that, and that was taken into consideration, but thank you, sir.
All right. All right. If there's nothing further, the parties and the attorneys are excused.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. I want to say thank you, Mr. Garcia, but I'm not sure.
Sorry about that.
So go, all right. Who do we have on the second floor?
We got from the 49th, Juan Manuel Amaya, and can you use an interpreter?
I'm sorry, Judge, I'm really there's a lot of echo there at the jail. I really need the defendant to get as close as possible to the screen.
Let me call the case first and I'll tell them here. Who's our interpreter? There you are. Hello, Rosario. On what page is this on? Who's the defendant?
Page 5, Judge, at the bottom. Juan Manuel Amaya, is that what they said?
Yes. Okay. The court calls 2017 CRP 12-5 D1 State of Texas versus Juan Manuel Amaya. Señor Amaya, ¿hablas español? Sí. Voy a necesitar que si se puede, se arrime al micrófono, ¿ok? Para oírlo bien. Te vamos a dar un intérprete.
Hola, señora Maya, mi nombre es Rosario, yo voy a ser su intérprete.
Okay, Miss Rosario, can you please raise your right hand and swear you in? Do you solemnly swear that you shall testify from English to Spanish and Spanish to English to the best of your ability, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Amaya, is your true and correct name Juan Manuel Amaya?
Señora Maya, su nombre correcto y completo es Juan Manuel Amaya?
Okay.
Yes.
Who's the Mr. Davalos or Garcia Davalos? Sorry.
No, Judge, it's my case, and the state has an announcement for this case, Your Honor. Good afternoon. The state is going to recommend withdrawing the MTR, Judge, and closing the case unsuccessfully.
El Estado está recomendando que su MTR sea cerrado y el caso sea sobreseído.
So is the public?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Eso es correcto, su señoría.
Okay. This is your case, Mr. Trevino.
I'm standing in for Miss Allison Martinez, Your Honor, but that's what I understand the state was going to do.
So what's the end result? Is he in on other charges or are you going to be released?
He's going to be released, Judge. He is not a U.S. citizen, and he's has been serving his 4 years of probation, or I guess remotely and he hasn't had any issues. He just, I guess, crossed over and was picked up, Judge. So at this point, we're just going to withdraw the MTR and withdraw the probation, Judge.
Okay.
Close the probation.
Can you?
Debido a que él no es ciudadano y ya tenía 4 años de estar en libertad condicional, él solamente ha cruzado y a él lo han levantado.
Mr. Amaya, as far as the state charges go, you're going to be released.
Señora Maya, en cuanto a los cargos del Estado, a usted se le dejará en libertad.
Does he have an immigration hold or he's going to be?
¿Tiene una retención por medio de inmigración?
I believe he's a U.S. citizen, Judge. He just resides in Mexico. In Nuevo Laredo.
Creo que es ciudadano de Estados Unidos, solamente vive en México.
So it sounds like you'll be released sometime today, Mr. Amaya.
Señora Maya, parece ser que a usted se le va a dejar en libertad el día de hoy.
Do you have any questions?
¿Tiene usted alguna pregunta?
No.
No.
Okay. Buena suerte entonces. Good luck, Mr. Amaya.
Gracias.
All right. Anything, the parties and the attorneys on this case are excused. Who do we have on the 4th floor?
341st, Sheena Garvin, 341st on a writ.
Mr. Omar Villarreal, I believe.
Your Honor, I'll be handling that today. Brett Trevino with the public defenders.
Is there anyone? Well, I guess there wouldn't be anyone from the state on this. I read the motion already, Mr. Trevino, and it looks like she's been incarcerated for more than 10 days.
Yes, Your Honor. And under the statute, we're requesting that she be granted relief in the form of a PR bond for this particular offense out of Harris County.
I have Bexar County.
I'm sorry, is it Bexar County?
Ms. Garvin, you understand English?
Yes, sir.
Today's 21st, right?
Yes, Your Honor, I believe it is Bexar County.
Ms. Garvin, your attorney has filed a motion asking for your release because you've been incarcerated on an out-of-county warrant for more than 10 days. The court is going to grant that, so you're going to be released on a personal bond in the amount of $3,000. So you'll be able to sign yourself out today.
Okay.
She's been in 14 days. What was the date of arrest?
18.
The 18th, Your Honor. Or actually, I think they served her with the warrant.
On the 1st, I believe.
Yes, on the 1st of this month, because she was on a warrant, I believe, from another county earlier, and I think that they realized she had another warrant from another county, so that's why she was being held.
Well, I mean, she qualifies both ways.
Yes, Your Honor.
But I don't think the days counting starts from when they serve the warrant. It's actually from the date of arrest. They can't hold off serving the warrant and not count the days. It doesn't work. I'm pretty sure it doesn't work that way.
Well, but what I'm saying is that she was arrested on another warrant out of another county. And then while she was serving that, then they found out she had another warrant out of another county. And that
Yeah, maybe it would start. Okay. So she's been in custody for 14 days on this one.
On this one, yes, Your Honor.
And when was she served with a warrant?
I believe it was on the 1st, Your Honor.
Of July?
I can check.
And the reason, well, because you told me 14 days, but that's 20.
I think she said 14 days, but I'm just checking. It was 14 days when we filed it, Your Honor. So the 14th day of July it was 14 days as of July 14th. That's why.
Well, I'm gonna write in at least 14 days. I mean,
Yes, Your Honor.
okay, Ms. Garvin, you'll be released today, but you may want to take care of this because every time you get identified, you're gonna have to go through this little song and dance, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right, good luck. Well, the parties excused and so are the attorneys. So who do we have on the second floor?
We got from the 49th, Minor Rosendo de Leon Gonzalez. Minor Rosendo de Leon Gonzalez, 49. And he needs an interpreter.
It's on page 1, I think. Buenas tardes, señor González. ¿Necesita un intérprete?
Sí.
Okay. You ready, Rosario?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'm ready.
The court calls 2021 CRE 416D1, State of Texas versus Minor Rosendo de Leon Gonzalez.
Your Honor, Fred Trevino for Mr. De Leon Gonzalez.
Hold on a second. Let her translate for Mr.
Se está llamando al caso 2021 CRE 416D1, el Estado contra el señor Alberto Rosendo González.
Announcement, Mr. Trevino.
Yes, Your Honor. We're going to be requesting another, well, I guess motion setting, reset it for motion setting. I believe an offer has been extended. I'm not sure if Ms. Martinez has been able to convey that offer or confer with Mr. Rosendo de Leon Gonzalez yet about the offer.
Who's here for the state on this?
Rogelio Soto on behalf of the state judge. We have no objection to the request.
En este momento estamos pidiendo que se puedan aplazar las fechas ya que se le está ofreciendo, extendiendo la oferta. No sé si la señora Martínez tenga alguna objeción sobre eso. No sé, ya han tenido tiempo de tener la junta con el señor de León González. No hay ninguna objeción.
Who? Mr. Soto, I'm sorry, did you say anything?
Yes, Judge. The state doesn't have that. There's no objection to the request, Your Honor. I spoke with Ms. Martinez this past week. She needed time to speak with her client about the case.
Almas, what's the next setting for this case?
It'll be August the 19th at 1:15.
La siguiente fecha va a ser para el día 19 de agosto a la 1:30, a la 1:15.
Anything further?
¿Algo más?
Not from the defense, Your Honor.
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
Nada de la defensa, nada del Estado.
We'll see you back here on the 19th of August, Mr. Gonzalez.
Señor González, nos vemos aquí el 19 de agosto.
Buena suerte.
Your Honor, that's all I have. May I be excused?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Soto.
Thank you, Judge. Have a good one.
You too.
Thank you.
Fourth floor.
341st, Gerardo Mata, 341st, Gerardo Mata.
On page 2. The court calls 2019 CRD 768D3, the state of Texas versus Gerardo Mata. Mr. Mata, do you understand English? I think I heard, was that a yes, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Your Honor, he also has a case on page 4.
The court also calls 2019 CRL 758D3, State of Texas versus Gerardo Mata.
Good afternoon, Judge. This is Attorney Sergio Lozano for the record on behalf of Mr. Mata.
Good afternoon, Mr. Lozano.
Your Honor, I have spoken to Mr. Mata, and he's ready to accept the offer that was proposed by the prosecution. I will need about a couple of weeks to get this done, Judge. So that's what we asked for, maybe a 2-week reset so I can work on the plea agreement.
Judge, we have August 12th at 9 a.m. or August 19th at 1:15 p.m.
Mr. Lozano, the 12th or the 19th?
Your Honor, August 12th should be enough time.
Is
At
that
9 a.m.
9 a.m.? Is that good for the state?
Yes, Your Honor, no objection.
And so we're setting this for a plea, right, Mr. Lozano?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any questions, Mr. Mata?
Nomás, entonces, ¿cuándo puede salir? Buena mañana el miembro quedado.
Well, you're set for a plea right now, and you're in jail because you didn't show up for court last time. So, Mr. Lozano, is the proposed plea agreement, is it time to serve?
No, Your Honor, it's a probation matter. But what I'll do, Judge, is I'll see if I can see him in these couple of days, Judge. Most probably, it may have to be on Monday. But if we do have those documents in order, maybe I can call the coordinator to see if we can get Mr. Mata's case fit in sometime next week.
Yeah. We're almost at the tail end of this case, and we are talking about a felony 1 and 2. I guess there's a 341st have plea dockets sooner than the 12th.
We have August 3rd, Your Honor. But we have 90 cases on that day.
Mr. Lozano?
Well, Judge, we can keep August 12th. And like I said, let me get all the paperwork in. And if I do that, I'll call the court to set up at the earliest time that they have scheduled.
Okay. Mr. Mata, it looks like there may be an agreement put in place in all field. So you've got at the latest until August 12th to be in there in answer to your question. You're in jail because you didn't show, so I'm not going to retract the capias. But you should be out shortly. So we're going to leave you in there until you plead out.
Thank you. All right.
Anything further from either side?
Nothing on behalf of Mata, Your Honor, and I'll wait for my other cases to be called.
Thank you, Mr. Mata. You're excused, and the attorneys are excused as well. Who do we have on the second floor?
We got from the 49th, Aaron Baltasar Dominguez. Aaron Baltasar Dominguez.
Page 2, the court calls 2020 CRK 1314 D1 State of Texas versus Aaron Baltasar Dominguez.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, Mr. Dominguez. Do you understand English?
Yes, Your Honor, I understand. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Your Honor, Fred Trevino, standing in for Ms. Annalie Vargas in this case. We were just presented with an offer from the state. Ms. Vargas needs time to convey the offer to Mr. Dominguez. In the meantime, Mr. Dominguez has been held, I believe, for 110 days. He still has, his bonds are $5,000 on the first case, $5,000 on the second case, and I think $4,000 on the possession charge, and another $4,000 on the, I don't believe he's being held on the fourth charge. So my client has been in custody for 110 days, and he has a total of, looks like $14,000, and we're requesting a reasonable bond. And in this case, that would be a PR bond for those charges, Your Honor.
Your Honor, if I could say something real quick.
Yes, please.
Before you make your decision, I understand it's totally to your discretion, but I do want you to know that I have set a plan with the Ms. Saldana, the caseworker over there. She's came to evaluate me, and she's giving me a treatment plan, and I will be keeping contact with her as far as the whole court process. If you do grant me, and I do understand it's to your discretion, but I've changed my way of thinking, and there's a lot of goals I set for myself as far as short-term goals for when me getting released, and I want to get to them if that's possible, and if you give me that opportunity, Your Honor.
Who's the attorney for the state on this?
Good afternoon, Judge Cassandra Castillo for the state. I'm standing in for Mr. Joaquin Rodriguez.
If I understood the as far as the offenses go, the most serious one is a state jail felony, unauthorized use of a vehicle.
No, Judge, the most serious charge would be the evading arrest detention with a vehicle. Judge, this case, for the court's knowledge, was recently transferred to the 49th based on a drug charge. So we did review the cases. The evading arrest actually did involve some injuries to some bystanders, and so this wasn't actually it wasn't the run-of-the-mill evading. Mr. Dominguez continues to offend with his drug use. He does have PR bonds on those. The other cases are cases where he was capious, and so there is a case for the injury to a child, which he was capious, and then the resisting, the evading, another possession charge. The offer is time to serve. So due to the offer, due to the defendant's history of capious, his criminal history, that the evading, which is the most serious offense, did cause an injury to the public. So we would be opposed to any decrease of his bond at this time. $14,000 with the amount of cases that he's facing is reasonable, and the state would ask for the court to not consider a reduction at this time.
I'm going to leave the bond as is, and I'm sorry about that, Mr. Dominguez, but the only silver lining on this is that usually you will get credit for time served. So it sounds like there is going to be an offer made regarding that.
Excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt. Even the fact that I've been in custody for this amount of time, I can't even get a little bond reduction. I mean, I've been over 100+ days, and I haven't had one bond reduction since the bonds were given to me since the very beginning of me arriving.
Well, I will tell you that I routinely set bonds initially on this case, and I'm kind of surprised that it's as low as it is right now. So at one point or another, you're telling me you didn't get a reduction. So this was probably through a warrant, and
yeah, that's why I'm asking at least for some kind of reduction.
I know, but I mean, at the very least, you've got 3 or 4 priors on this. And that's one of the things we look at. And one of the things that the state's concerned about is the repeated drug offenses, which usually leads to other things. So again, Mr. Dominguez, I don't want to seem cold-hearted, but again, you got to look at this, that with a possible plea offer for time served, I think it's better that if we leave you in there.
They've been telling me this for already 5 resets, and I haven't come to know. I mean, that's why I'm trying to get bonded, because it seems like they're not ever going to get to it, because it's already been 5 resets.
What is going to be the reset date for this case?
August the 3rd, Judge?
That's
August the 3rd at 8:30 a.m.
And just for Mr. Dominguez's information, Your Honor, we just got the offer today. So now that we have an offer, he can decide what he wants to do, or if he wants to go to trial, and Ms. Vargas will go ahead and confer with him about that.
Alma, we're able to do that. I mean, put bond reduction reconsideration on there as well.
Yes, Your Honor.
Depending on where we are, Mr. Dominguez, before I do a bond reduction, I usually ask pretrial services to give me a complete arrest history and criminal history. So I don't really have that in front of me here today. I do not feel that the $14,000 on the charges you have leveled against you is excessive by any standard. So I'm going to leave it as is for right now. But depending on whether it's me or Judge Lopez, I think I have the next in custody as well. It'll probably be me. I'll take it into consideration the next time. All right. Anything further, Mr. Trevino?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Good luck, Mr. Dominguez, and I'll see you on the 3rd. Oh, he had 2 cases.
He had, I believe, 4, Your Honor.
3, 4, and 5 of the 49th docket, Your Honor, on page 2.
And then I believe he had another one on page 6.
I didn't call the other 2, but they'll be reset.
Yes, sir. Yeah, on
Which was the fourth case?
the page.
It's on page 5 on the top, Judge, 2020 CRM 472V1.
I am sorry, Your Honor. It's the same as page 2, the bottom. The same cost number.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yes, it is.
Okay. Who do we have next on the 4th floor?
341st, Jesus Alonso Martinez, 341st. Also needs an interpreter.
Page 5, Judge.
The court calls 2020 CRK 727D3, the state of Texas versus Jesus Alonso Martinez.
Se está llamando el caso 2020 CRK 727D3, el Estado contra Jesús Alonso Martínez.
Mr. Lozano, is that your case?
It is, Your Honor.
Señor Lozano, ¿es su caso? Sí.
And for the state?
¿Y de parte del Estado?
I can stand in, Judge.
Yo puedo sustituir, pues.
Mr. Lozano?
Yes, Your Honor. This unauthorized use of a motor vehicle, Judge, where my client was a passenger. And I've been speaking with Ms. Sandoval, Claudia, this matter. I'd like to see if if she can consider the mitigating information that I already gave her. And so that's where we're at this point.
Este es el uso sin permiso de un vehículo donde el señor Martínez era un pasajero y ha estado hablando con la señora Sandoval para ver si ella puede considerar poder mitigar los cargos.
I mean, what are we going to do today? Are we going to try to set it for a plea later on? Do you want to reset on the final pretrial?
Judge, I would ask the court to set it for a final pretrial. I certainly don't want to waste the court's time if this is going to be a case we can resolve. Like I said, I have conveyed or I had disclosed some information to Ms. Sandoval, and I'm just waiting for her to respond to that information.
Your Honor, if I may.
Yes.
Judge, Ms. Sandoval is not in the office today. Can we get just the shortest reset so that she can consider that information that Mr. Lozano gave to her? I'm not privy to that. And because she is handling this case, I would ask that it be reset to a time in which she could address the court properly.
Well, we can do that. Mr. Martinez is 19 years old. Does he have any other cases pending anywhere else?
Your Honor, if I can get a cause number, because I don't have the information of the case in front of me.
Oh, it's 2020 CRK 727 D3.
Thank you, Judge.
Debido a que la señora Sandoval todavía no ha revisado la información, se está pidiendo poder aplazar las fechas.
Mr. Lozano, does your client reside in Webb County?
Your Honor, I'm not aware of that.
Señor Lozano, su cliente vive en el condado de Webb. No estoy al tanto de eso.
Your Honor, if I may.
Yes.
It looks like he only has this one offense of the unauthorized use that occurred in July 2019. However, this defendant has been capious on this same charge twice. So we're here for a capious hearing. He did not appear for his last court setting, and this is the second time that he has been capious since this case has been pending.
Okay. So, should we try to set this then for August 3rd? Is that?
Yes, Your Honor. That would be, I think by that time is Sandoval will be ready.
Well, Mr. Lozano, and you may want to inform yourself if there's any other circumstances or facts the court needs to take into account to see.
Well, Judge, what I do point out is the age of my client. He's a young man.
I mean, that's of concern to me right now, but this is the second time he does this. So I'm not saying no altogether. I just don't want to make a decision on that right now, and I think it might be better. We're talking about less than 2 weeks away. Well, actually, it's exactly 2 weeks away because it's 31 days in July. And yeah, I understand this is a sole offense, and that's why I'm asking these questions. But the ADA may have some more detailed information. I think I should probably hear before I adjust or reinstate the bond or retract the capias. But if it's me, I would like to hear something on that the next time on the 3rd, okay, of August?
Yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
Excuse me, he's asking for translation.
Rosario, did you catch that?
En este momento vamos a estar buscando una fecha para el día 3 de agosto debido a que se está tomando en consideración la edad del menor de 19 años y que no ha tenido ninguna otra ofensa, pero queremos tener más detalles sobre esta información antes de poder reinstituir su fianza.
Mr. Martinez, I want to visit this issue of whether I can put a bond on you, but I need to be assured that you're going to be coming back. I'm not going to make a decision today, but I do want to take that up the next time you show up before the court, okay?
Quiero poder hacer una decisión en cuanto si se le puede dar una fianza. Quiero asegurarme que usted va a regresar, pero no puedo hacer esa decisión el día de hoy, así es de que la haré la siguiente vez que usted se presente.
And that's going to be on the 3rd of August.
Eso va a ser para el día 3 de agosto.
Okay, so there's nothing further. The parties and the attorneys are excused.
Si no hay nada más, todas las partes están despedidas.
Second floor.
For the 49th, Rafael Ruiz Cantú. Rafael Ruiz Cantú, 49.
Judge.
Your Honor, he is an interpreter.
Oh, thank you. The court calls 2019 CRM 442D1, the state of Texas versus Rafael Ruiz Cantú.
Se está llamando el caso 2019 CRM 442D1 con el Estado contra Rafael Ruiz Cantú.
Yes, Your Honor. Good afternoon. This is Jonathan Garcia. I'm the attorney. I just got appointed recently, a few days ago. And so I just got informed of the offer. And as I was reviewing the docket, I saw that he was in the midst of pleading, and then the attorney withdrew. So I need an opportunity to be able to meet with my client, get the evidence in this case, and convey the offer.
Sí, en este momento recientemente yo soy Jonathan García, se me acaba de pasar este caso. Estoy viendo que estaba a punto de presentarse cuando el otro abogado se salió del caso. Yo estoy pidiendo tiempo para revisar el caso y tener una junta con mi cliente y repasar la oferta.
And just out of curiosity, is this a new offer or are we talking about the same offer?
Por curiosidad, ¿es una oferta nueva o es algo diferente?
I haven't had an opportunity to compare the offer that was relayed to the other attorney with the one that was given to me yesterday.
No he tenido la oportunidad de poder tener esta junta para ver si es la oferta anterior de la que se me dio ayer.
Your Honor, Robert Gutierrez for the state. Offers don't change with new defense attorneys, so
Well,
it's the same offer.
Well, I understand that, but sometimes they do. But, okay, no. All right, so. Should we set it for a final pretrial then, Mr., or is that too quick for you? Mr. Garcia?
If I may be given a pretrial, Your Honor, so that I can see whether any motions were filed, and if so, that way, in the pretrial from there to the final pretrial, and then if my client wants to fight the case, then I guess we'll proceed with that.
Quiero pedir a tiempo para ver si hay algunas peticiones que se hayan presentado y después a poder hablar con mi cliente para ver si él quiere pelear su caso.
What do we have for them, Alma?
Jonathan, do you want a motion setting? Because we don't have pretrials. You want either a motion setting or the final pretrial?
Yes, a motion settings, please.
Okay. We'll go ahead and set it for August the 19th for a motion setting, Judge.
Okay.
At 1:15.
La nueva fecha para petición va a ser para el día 19 de agosto a la 1:15.
Anything further, Mr. Garcia Davalos, or
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Gutierrez? No, okay.
That'll be all. Maybe excuse, Your Honor.
Then we'll see you back here, Mr. Cantu, on the 19th, and the parties and the attorneys are excused. Thank you.
Nos vemos el día 19 de agosto, señora Cantú.
Yes.
Y están despedidos los abogados.
And the party as well.
Y también usted está despedido.
Who's next?
341st, Rutilio Mendoza Musto. 341st, Rutilio Mendoza Musto, also needs an interpreter.
Page 3, Judge.
The court calls 2019, wait, hold on. Yes, the court calls 2019 CRF 1348 D3 State of Texas versus Rutilio Mendoza Musto.
Se está llamando el caso 2019 CRF 1348D3, el Estado contra el señor Otilio Mendoza Busto.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Sergio Lozano on behalf of Mr. Rutilio, Your Honor.
Está el señor Sergio Lozano por el señor Rutilio.
And for the state, Mr. Hobson or Mr. Gutierrez? Or
I'll stand in, Judge.
Y para el Estado estará sustituyendo a la señora Cassandra Hernández Castillo.
Mr. Lozano, we're here on a pretrial. This is pretrial.
Well, Your Honor, this case has Mr. Mendoza had been in Capias for quite some time.
I see that.
And so at this point, I'm looking through my notes and I don't see any discovery. I'd like for the prosecution to tender some of the discovery over and ask the court for another pretrial, Judge.
Were you the original attorney back in 2000?
Judge, I believe Mr. Garza Ernest was appointed, but somehow, I don't know, I really don't understand what my involvement is with the case, other than it shows here that I was present at some of the hearings. Specifically November 12th, there was a hearing. And so for all intents and purposes, I am the attorney of record, and do see here that we filed some motions as well.
Okay, well, I was
If
gonna
we
say, if you-
can, I don't know and I don't want to urge my motions just yet, Judge. I'd rather just go ahead and confer with the prosecutor that's going to be handling this case.
all right, we'll give you a pretrial. I mean, obviously, there's been a year and a half gap in here. And just so there's no doubt, if you haven't been appointed the attorney, you are now.
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm assuming you were not retained?
Your Honor.
Okay. And so let's get a reset on the pretrial hearing for Mr. Lozano and Mr. Musto.
Okay, we have August 3rd at 8:30 or August 12th at 9 a.m.
Let's give them to the 12th. Mr. Lozano, does that sound better unless you want the 3rd?
The 12th is fine, Your Honor.
At 8:30?
Yes, Your Honor.
El señor Lozano está pidiendo más tiempo para volver a tener esta audiencia previa al juicio. Y la siguiente fecha va a ser para el día 3 de agosto a las 8:30.
Okay, anything further then, Mr. Lozano?
No, Your Honor. May I be excused?
Yes, thank
you.
you, Mr. Musto. We'll see you back on the 12th of August.
Muchísimas gracias, señor Busto. Nos veremos el día 12 de agosto.
I think we have someone on the 3rd floor.
We're in the third floor with Luis Bernardo Zarate Martinez, 49. He needs an interpreter.
You said Luis Bernardo, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The court calls 2021 CRO 175D1, State of Texas versus Luis Bernardo Zarate Martinez.
Se llama el caso 2021 CRO 175D1, el Estado contra Luis Fernando Zarate Hernández.
Good afternoon, Mr. Martinez.
Muy buenas tardes, señor Martínez.
Buenas tardes, señor.
Good afternoon.
Fred, this is the 49th case.
Yes, Your Honor. I'm standing in again for Ms. Allison Martinez. She's left me notice that they received a plea offer, and it's more than likely going to be a plea. So we just request that this be reset for a plea status, Your Honor, so that she can discuss the details of the plea with Mr. Zarate Martinez.
En este momento estoy sustituyendo a la señora Martínez y estoy viendo que hay una oferta y queremos nuevas fechas para que ella tenga tiempo de hablar con el cliente y hablar sobre los detalles de la oferta.
You need another plea status, Fred?
That's what Ms. Martinez left me, the note she left.
I understood that it was likely that a plea was imminent, or no?
That's what she said. It will most likely be a plea. Just ask for a plea status reset, and so that she can go over it with the client.
Es eminente una declaración, eso fue lo que entendí. Sí, y ella está pidiendo tiempo para hablar con su cliente.
Well, I mean, if we set it on plea status, Alma, there's no reason why they can't plea on that date anyways.
Yeah, yes, Judge.
So let's set it for plea status. What do we have?
Either August 3rd or August 19th.
August 3rd should be fine.
Okay.
And the time?
At 8:30.
Su siguiente fecha va a ser para el día 3 de agosto a las 8:30.
shoot. Can we take about a 10-minute break before we do the next case? I know it's not 10 minutes, but I'm back. Who do we have next? On which floor, defendant?
Second floor is ready, Your Honor. It's gonna be on the 49th, third floor, 49th, Miguel Angel Castillo.
All right, is all the staff back from the 49th and the court reporter?
I don't know if our court reporter is back.
Yeah, I'll wait till I get an answer. Do you speak English, Mr. Castillo?
Then,
Okay, he's got two cases.
yeah.
All right. We took a break. We're waiting for the court reporter, and we'll be back on the record here in a sec.
Okay.
Judge, did you call for me? I heard Castillo.
No, that's the last name of the defendant.
Oh, okay.
I believe it's Mr. Wahadu.
Your Honor, Well, in the chat, Mr. Silverio Martinez had said that he wanted to approach, that his device was about to die. I don't know if he's still present and if we could go to a breakout room, because that is my case.
Yes, Judge. Silverio Martinez, present. My phone is about to die. I'm out of town. I had court in Austin and I had to be out, but I'm on the phone and I'm able to do it right now. If the court could call us any sooner, that would be great.
Mr. Martinez, do you want to approach for a breakout room, or it's going to be an announcement with your client?
No. I'm sorry. I think it's a capias hearing. I just got hired yesterday on it, or the day before yesterday. I just filed a notice of substitution, an appearance, and I just wanted to approach the court on a capias bond and reset.
What's the name of your?
Domingo Munoz, and the cause number.
If I may, I sent them to you. Maria should have given them to you.
Okay, hold on. Oh, yes.
Yes. Yeah, he went capias in June, on June 25th for a consultation here.
It's well, I looked on the docket, Your Honor, on these particular cases. It seems like these two are brand new. He has a lengthy record, but I looked at all of them. They seem to all be resolved, dismissed, or disposed of. But these two cases are recent, and it seems like this was the initial hearing. I don't know.
His initial,
I'm wrong. I didn't see consultation here, and I saw initial.
His initial
I'm sorry?
appearance. His initial appearance should have been June 25th.
Correct, and he did not appear for that.
Exactly, and it's a consultation.
Yes. Oh, okay. Well, that was the initial one, and I was looking at it. He says he didn't receive it. I looked at the docket. I don't think there's proof of him having been served with it, but I may be wrong. I'm not representing that to the court. At any rate, I'm telling the court today that I've been hired on those two cases, and I usually, when I get hired, Your Honor, it's a little bit of a commitment from the client because it's not cheap, and so if they're gonna pay the money, they're gonna appear in court. I'm asking the court if the court can set a bond or maybe release him on a PR bond, and I can assure the court they've been showing up with me. They paid the attorney fees, and I'm pretty sure he's not in this to flee.
Your Honor, if I may.
Yes.
Judge, he has a parole violation hold, so regardless of what the court does, he's going to be held and he is going to be before the parole board. And I'm not sure the reasons why, but regardless of any situation in which Ms. Martinez is assuring the court that he will appear with the hold, regardless of a bond, he's going to be held and sent to Austin.
And that may very well be the case, Your Honor, and it may not be in my client's best interest to post a bond. If the court does set a bond that is reasonable, I would request maybe a $1,500 or $2,000 cash bail surety bond so that he has to pay something on it. But we may not want to pay it if and when. I have to deal with the blue warrant out of the parole board if that's the case. And if he's not getting out, then he's not getting out to deal with that.
Well, the court's already signed the orders approving you as the attorney of record. So, and no, let's do this. And he's not before us right now, I don't think.
He actually just arrived from speaking with parole, so he's in the chair right now.
Yeah, but he's not on Zoom right now.
Yes, sir, he is.
Oh, he is?
Yes, sir, he just stepped in right now.
Is that him? Is that you, Mr. Munoz?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, I don't have any information on this. Mr. Munoz, and what the state is telling me is that regardless of what I do, you're not going to be released until you appear before the parole board. What's the setting that we have coming up on this? The initial appearance again?
You want me to give you a date?
Yeah.
For the next setting would be August the 12th at 9 a.m.
And Your Honor, the way that I usually handle this is, I mean, I'm obviously advising my client, and if he's going to post bond on this case and then be held by the parole board, it wouldn't behoove us to do that because
That's not going to be a reason for me to set bond at this point.
I guess building up his own interest. What I want to do, Your Honor, and I'm not trying to say that's the case. I'm just asking the court if the court could set a bond in this case because of the situation in this particular case. He's probably not going to post it until I'm able to work out something with parole. So if parole works out something, at the very least, this is out of the way. But we can't work out anything with parole until and unless we have something here. Parole is going to keep saying, like the federal system does, no, if he has a hold in the state, we're not going to release him in any way, shape, or form. So I kind of need some sort of order from this court saying we are allowing his release if and when he's able to get released out of that.
No, he's not on the regular docket. I don't even know what he's charged with, since this was an add-on.
Well, these are felonies. I don't know. I don't have it in front of me. I believe it was. Do you know?
Hold on. The 2021 CRI 436D1 is burglary habitation felony.
Yes.
And then the 2021 CRJ 437 is a theft of property. No, theft of firearm, state jail felony, and a burglary of a vehicle, Class A.
And I don't know any of the circumstances of those cases, Judge. Like I said, but all I'm doing right now is he should have shown up, and he will show up. But I'm not gonna.
Yeah, Mr. Martinez, I don't think whatever issues he has with the parole board are going to be resolved by the 12th of August. So the best thing to do is I'll defer until that date and bring it up again with either Judge Lopez and it may be me again. And I will take that into account if we need to set a bond to facilitate whatever needs to be done with the parole board. But
And Judge, with all due respect, what I'm saying is that it's kind of circular. What Your Honor is saying right now is what parole is going to say then. Your Honor is saying, well, let's wait to see what parole does.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's why I would like to get something here so that then I can work something out with parole, because parole will not work anything out because of the fact that, quote unquote, he's still being held by you. And that's the problem we have.
Mr. Martinez, do you have a date for federal?
No, it's not federal. It's the parole board.
Oh,
and so that's a different story. I have to deal with them separately. And that's why I'm saying, even if the court sets a PR bond right now, he's not getting out. I have to deal with them first.
On these
Judge, if I may.
I'm sorry?
Your Honor, if I may.
Yes.
Valerie Guerrero with pretrial judge. Judge, he does have bonds on those 3 charges.
Yeah, but they've been revoked. I mean, and I'm assuming he's already paid them. So what were the bond amounts on the bond amount on the 2nd-degree felony?
For the burglary of habitation, judge, it's set at 25,000. And for the theft of a firearm, it's set at 5,000, and burglary of a vehicle is set at 1,000.
Your Honor, if I may.
Yes.
Judge, he already has reasonable bonds in the state's opinion regarding these offenses. He did not appear, and he does have a very lengthy criminal history. Just by the parole hold alone, it shows that he was on parole. And these cases did happen in 2018. However, I would ask that the court consider that the bonds that are already in place are reasonable. Consider the fact that he does have a parole violation, his lengthy criminal history, as well as that Mr. Martinez was just appointed at this. I'm sorry, just retained. I will assure Mr. Martinez that I will send out the discovery today for both cases, and that we can try to resolve them by the next setting.
Well, and that, I think that'll achieve your purpose, Mr. Martinez. If the court reinstates the $25,000 bond on the second-degree felony burglary of a habitation, $5,000 on the felony. And what was the amount on the Class A?
It's set at 1,000, Judge.
7?
1,000, Your Honor.
1,000. So 25, 5, and 1. And now you have something to work with, Mr. Martinez.
Yes, Your Honor. That'll work for now, and I appreciate that, Judge.
Yeah, and you can always raise another bond reduction at the next hearing, and maybe have some.
Yes,
more.
Your Honor. I'll talk to my client about meeting that bond. I appreciate that. Thank you, Judge.
All right. Anything further?
That's all I have for now, Judge. If we may be excused.
The parties and the attorneys are excused. That on this two
You
cases.
got the next court date, Silverio?
Oh,
It'll be August the 12th at 9 a.m.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Judge Garcia, hi, this is Pedro Guajardo. May I make an announcement, a quick announcement on the 49th docket?
Yes, sir.
Page 6, 2020 CRD 1714B1, State of Texas versus Miguel Angel Castillo.
Mr. Castillo is there already on Zoom.
Oh, okay, awesome. Well, Judge, just a quick announcement. I talked to Keiko Martinez. He's a defense attorney. He told me that this defendant already pled guilty in the 111th, 10 for 10. So it's going to be concurrent. My offer is 444, or it's going to be time to serve offer, which is he does have the credit. Keiko asked me if we can pass the case. Keiko right now, Judge, he's with his son. He took him to the doctor's office. So I'm just making that announcement. We can just move it for, I guess, 2 weeks, but set for a plea.
For a plea?
Yes, Alma.
Mr. Castillo, did you catch all of that?
Yes, sir.
Did you understand your attorney had a family emergency, and he's not present, but apparently it looks like a plea arrangement is imminent. So they're asking to reset your case for August what?
You want August 4th, Pedro, or August 17th?
That's fine, because Mr. Martinez told me about 2 weeks, so it can be August 4th or 17th. Whenever, to Alma, whatever it's easier for you.
August the 17th
At what time?
at 2 p.m.
So you let Keiko Martinez know?
Yes, I'll send him notice.
Okay, thank you, Honor. That's all I have, Judge. Maybe excused.
All right, thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Honor. Stay safe.
Mr. Castillo. You'll be back in court on the 17th of August, okay? Mr. Martinez should be visiting you soon with the offer from the state, although you kind of heard it already.
Thank you.
All right, thanks. The parties and the attorneys are excused. Fourth floor.
341st, Jose Daniel Escobedo. 341st, Jose Daniel Escobedo.
The court calls 2020 CRO 1437 D3, State of Texas versus Jose Daniel Escobedo.
Yes, Your Honor, for this case, it's a capious hearing. My client was not present in court on July 8th.
I'm sorry, who's the attorney on this?
It's Ms. Nader from Public Defender's
Oh,
Office.
there you are. Okay, yeah, I've got all the multiple.
Thank you.
Who's here from the district attorney's office?
Yes, Your Honor, Cristal Calderon for the state.
So he missed his final pretrial date the last time?
Yes, Your Honor, he was capious. He's also picked up 3 new drug cases. So at this time, the state is going to object to any bond as he has committed new offenses and he's missed his court.
Did you say he picked up 3 new charges?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Neda, where are we on this case?
Your Honor, initially it was a probation offer, but since he did pick up some new arrests, last time we were going to ask for a reset to try to work them out together. But since he wasn't present, the capious went out. So I'm not sure if it will be a time offer or.
Well,
the offer's not going to change, Your Honor. Since these are drug related, I'm still waiting on one more report, but I would like at least some movement on these cases because if I let him, if bond is given, he's most likely to pick up another drug offense, and we'll be right where we are right now.
yeah, I'm not inclined to put bond on this. And that's going to be the decision. But so do we need another final pretrial then to see where we are in relation to the new charges? To try to work them out together?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes.
August 3rd at 8:30?
August 3rd at 8:30. Mr. Escobedo, did you catch all of that?
Yes, sir. And I want to say that the reason why I was able to be present on the court on the July 8th is because of the malfunction of the system electronically, because I was informed, I was trying to log in, and that was the only reason why I wasn't able to be present, because due to all the other court dates, I was always present. The only reason why I wasn't present was because of malfunction of the electronic. I've always gone to all the courts, and I please suggest the court to give me a bond. That way I can go to attend my family because they are making the coronavirus and they need somebody to attend. So please.
Well, and part of the problem, Mr. Escobedo, is the state has informed me that you have 3 additional charges. So before I reconsider setting bond, which I've already decided I'm not going to, I want some detail on the new charges. You're going to be back in court on the 3rd of August, so that's 2 weeks away. And I'm sure your attorney at that time will re-urge a request to.
Yes, I understand.
Okay, so for right now, I'm going to deny the request, but we'll see you back here on the 3rd of August. Let me check.
Any type of bond would be highly grateful, Your Honor. I really need to be to my family, victim of coronavirus, and I really need to.
No, it looks like you'll be, looks like you'll be in front of the judge handling this case, which is Judge Palomo. It's her court. I'm going to let her make that decision. Sorry about that, Mr. Escobedo, but I think you kind of dug your own hole on this one. So if there's nothing further, the parties and the attorneys are excused.
Thank you.
Your Honor, 49, Orlin Javier Jimenez. Orlin Javier Jimenez, he is an interpreter.
Let me find the case.
Page 6.
The court calls 2020 CRO 69 D1, the state of Texas versus Orlin Javier Jimenez.
Se está llamando el caso 2020 CRO 69D1 con el señor Orlin Jiménez.
Mr. Trevino, 49th, yes.
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Vargas, I'm signing in for Ms. Annalie Vargas, Your Honor. We have no agreement, so we're just going to ask for a reset to the next motion for, I guess.
Motion settings.
Okay.
Okay.
August the 12th at 9 a.m.
Está el señor Treviño sustituyendo a la señora Vargas. No hay todavía ningún acuerdo, así es de que estamos pidiendo una nueva fecha para el día 12 de agosto a las 9 de la mañana.
Okay, anything further, Mr. Trevino?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Then the-
¿Alguna otra cosa, señor Treviño? No.
we'll see you back in court, Mr. Jimenez, on the 12th of August.
Nos volveremos a ver aquí, señor Jiménez, ante este tribunal el día 12 de agosto.
The party and the attorneys are excused.
Las partes y los abogados quedan despedidos.
What do we have on the fourth floor?
Juan Carlos Rojas, 49. Juan Carlos Rojas, 49.
Your Honor, if I may.
Let me call the case.
Page 7.
The court calls 2016-1363 D1, the state of Texas versus Juan Carlos Rojas. Good afternoon, Mr. Thompson.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. I'm going to be standing in for Ms. Calderon on this case.
Judge, if I may, the Public Defender's Office is being appointed to the MTR. Mr. Cantu represents him right now, Judge, but he did file a motion to withdraw at County Court at Law 2, and the Public Defender's Office was appointed there, so the Public Defender's Office is being appointed to this MTR as well.
Your Honor, if I may, Judge,
Yes.
His parents, the reason why I was withdrawing is because his parents had not retained me, but they did retain me. They just retained me a couple of days ago. So I'll be taking over this case.
All right, hold on a second. Mr. Rojas, do you understand English?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Cantu, I guess, prior to being retained, had, I guess, filed a motion to withdraw. Were you appointed first, Mr. Cantu, or what?
No, they had told me, he was, but
Yeah, I had been appointed judge, and then I withdrew because me and Mr. Rojas lost contact. And so there had been a capias out for him. I withdrew because it was a failure of communication. But he came back, his parents came back and hired me. I've represented him before on various other cases. So his parents came to hire me on this MTR.
Okay, so.
And I spoke to him today about that.
Okay, so then you are the attorney of record then, Mr. Cantu?
Yes, now I'm back. I'm back as the attorney of record right now.
And then, so the public defender's office is relieved of duties.
No objection, John.
Okay. You want the extra work, thank you. So, I mean, all it says is motion to revoke. Are we here on arraignment for that or?
Yes, Judge.
Okay. So, Mr. Cantu, we're here on arraignment for the motion to revoke. Is there an announcement from the defense?
Yes, Judge. At this time, Judge, I'll go ahead and plead him not true to the allegations, Your Honor. I would request that if possible, I've been talking to Ms. Calderon about the case, if she could just email me a copy of the state's application so I could review it with my client when I go see him at the jail. So I would request a final hearing date, and hopefully we can, on that day, we can resolve something.
Alma, what do we have?
Is he still going to be in custody, or if it's in custody, then it'll be August 12th at 9 a.m.
That's fine, Alma.
Okay.
How long was he an absconder for?
5 days.
Absconded since in person since August 2020 and via phone call January of 2021, Your Honor.
Is that, Your Honor, that's the motion is alleging 7 different months that they didn't see him in an 8-month period. The last time that the motion says that he reported was January of 2021. And we're alleging all the way till May of 2021. I'm assuming he hasn't been seen since.
I'm not going to grant bond at this time, and we have a quick setting anyways. I'm assuming that the charge is state jail felony, so, you know, more than likely something can be done.
Yes, sir.
So we'll let him sit in there for a little bit.
That's fine, Judge. I did speak to him about that, Judge, and I told him that, you know, the court probably was not going to be able to grant bond right now. So he knows, Judge.
Okay, well, that's the court's ruling, but.
Yes, sir.
So then it's set for
August 12th at 9 a.m.
9 a.m. final hearing?
It's fine.
Yes.
All right, thank you, Mr. Cantu. And Mr. Rojas, we'll see you here on the 12th of August.
all right.
All right, good luck, sir.
Thank you, Judge. Judge, I believe I've got a couple other matters. If y'all can just text me and I'll come back on, Judge. I'm going to run into another meeting real quick.
Well, okay.
Unless they're up right now.
Well, let's see who's next, and that may be yours.
Yes, sir.
Who do we have on the 4th floor?
Fernando Alfredo Mora, Your Honor. Fernando Alfredo Mora. Needs an interpreter, Your Honor. 29.
He's on page 8, Judge.
I have it now. He has 3 cases, right?
Yes.
The court calls 2020 CRI 1288 D1, 2020 CRI 1290, and 2020 CRK 1453 D1, State of Texas versus Fernando Alfredo Mora.
Se está llamando los casos 2020 CR1 1288D1, 2020 CR1 1290, 2020 CRK 1453D1, el Estado contra Fernando Alfredo Mora.
Your Honor, Fred Trevino for Mr. Mora.
Good afternoon again, Mr. Trevino.
It appears that on all three of these cases, these cases are capious hearings. So my understanding, he did not appear in court in his previous appointments.
Yeah, well, yeah, and one of them is the same date and the other one was one from last year, looks like.
So I just would like to know, perhaps there's a reason he wasn't able to show up, or if he was not served properly.
Esta señora Treviño, de parte del señor Mora, tiene tres audiencias de capias o orden de arresto. Él no se ha presentado anteriormente. Una es del año pasado, las otras dos son las mismas fechas. El abogado quisiera saber si hay alguna razón por la cual no se presentó.
And actually, I think they're all from last year, different dates, but on the second one, it says 201, so I'm not sure if it's this year.
No, Judge, they were both, it was my error. It was of July of 2020. And the other one is August of 2020.
Creo que todas son del año pasado. Tienen diferentes fechas para el mes de julio y agosto 2020.
Your Honor, Cassandra Castillo for the state. I'm standing in for Mr. Rodriguez. Judge, given the lengthy capias and the multiple felonies, the state would oppose a bond at this time.
Yeah, there's 2 second-degree felonies and a state jail felony. And
He's only been in custody for 4 days and he was capias for over a year. The offer at this time is time to serve.
that makes it harder to set bond, I think. Mr. Trevino, yeah, and you raised the possibility that he was not served, but unless you have something definite.
No, Your Honor, and generally we would ask the district clerk's office to find out if there was service.
La señora Castillo está sustituyendo al señor Rodríguez. Este es un caso largo de orden de arresto, tiene varios crímenes y en este momento estamos negando que se le deje bajo fianza. Creo que los cargos que tiene son de crímenes mayores. Apenas tiene 4 días que está arrestado y ha estado con orden de arresto por más de 1 año. Creo que es tiempo de servir.
And Your Honor, for the court's knowledge, there was a warrant approved today for a assault causing bodily injury with a family member. So there will be an additional case. So this defendant continues to offend and it's a violent offense as well as be capious. So I would like the court to keep that into consideration.
También me gustaría que se hiciera o se tomara en consideración que hay una orden de arresto el día de hoy. Esta persona ha asaltado con lesiones a la persona. Este es un miembro de la familia, así es de que aparte de la orden de arresto, tiene un acto violento.
No, the court's is not gonna put a bond, it's gonna leave the no bond.
Sí, este tribunal no le está dando una fianza.
So what do we have for, the next setting will be evidence exchange?
Yes, Judge, August the 12th for evidence exchange on the first two cases, and on the last case, it'll be a motion setting.
La siguiente fecha va a ser para el día 12 de agosto y ese es para el intercambio de pruebas. Y para el último caso va a ser una petición.
Okay, if there's nothing further for right now, then the parties and the attorneys are excused.
Si no hay nada más, están a despedidos tanto las partes como los abogados.
What do we have?
49, Elida Santos, Elida Santos.
The court calls 2017 CRO 971D1 in the state of Texas versus Elida Santos, I'm sorry. Good afternoon, Ms. Santos. Mr. Cantu,
He's getting on, Judge, hold on.
Yes, Judge.
hello, Mr. Cantu. We just called the case of the state of Texas versus Elida Santos.
Yes, Judge, on this one, if we could get a reset, I went to go see her at the jail, Judge, and we're trying to see what we can work out with the state. She did ask me to ask the court for a bond. If the court would be inclined to grant her a bond, I would request the court grant her a bond, and if not, Judge, if the court denies it, then if I could get the next setting, I'll go back and talk to her, and I'll be visiting with Mr. Joaquin Rodriguez and see if we can resolve it.
And this is on the charge of evading arrest and driving while intoxicated.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
She's been in there 2 months. Is there anyone from the state that has input on this?
Cassandra Hernandez Castillo, Your Honor, standing in for Mr. Rodriguez. Judge, it's my understanding that this defendant does have a new case that will be 1245. The offer at this time is 2 years on the DWI and to 1245 the new case.
2 years to serve?
So it is a time to serve offer on the revocation. And it'll also encompass the new case that she picked up.
Mr. Cantu, And it sounds like they're gonna 1245. The new, what was the new charge?
DWI with a child under 15.
That's a state jail felony, Judge. So I was gonna go talk to her, Judge, about possible options to resolve the case. Obviously, she's been wanting to get out. She's been in there, like the court noted, 2 months, but I don't know if the court would do that. I'd like for her to get a bond, and then, you know, we can come back and resolve all this, but I understand it'll be at the court's discretion.
And Judge, the reason for the court's knowledge, the reason why she is in custody is because she was served with her MTR and then was capious at her original setting. So she was capious in June, and then the last setting on it, I believe, was the 6th. So we're just in the process of negotiating.
And she is well, it looks like for right now, she's looking at time to serve, Mr. Cantu. So as I mentioned in my earlier case, the silver lining is that more than likely they'll get credit for time served.
Yes, sir. I understand.
And so the court will deny the request for a bond setting at this time. But so do we want to set it for another final hearing then?
Yes, sir. If I could get another hearing on this one, and then if we don't have an agreement, then I just want to go forward on a hearing, Judge.
Same day, Judge, August 12th at 9 a.m.
Okay. Sorry, Ms. Santos, but you'll be back here in about 3 weeks, or a little over, a little over 3 weeks. Okay, if there's nothing further, the party and the attorneys are excused.
Thank you, Judge. I have one other matter, but I'll be on standby, Judge.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, yes, sir.
I need 30 seconds here. No one go away. What do we have on the 4th floor?
Eric Chapa, Your Honor, Eric Chapa,
Which court?
49, Your Honor.
The court calls 2010 CRR 65D1, the state of Texas versus Eric Chapa. Defense attorney, Mr. Dankos. Well, has to be old. Yes, Mr. Drucker is a state's attorney.
Judge, if I may, I just spoke to Mr. Dankos. He's logging in right now.
Okay.
Judge, did you understand my note there?
On the docket sheet?
Yeah, on Eric Chapa on the, yeah. He went KPS on January 22nd, 21. It was an MTR final hearing. And then on May 27th, he appeared on Zoom on the civil cases, and the judge told him to log in the next day, and he never did.
So Judge Lopez granted him a pass on the,
Well, he told him that that he was on Zoom on the wrong date. He said, just log in tomorrow, but he never did.
so he was gonna give him a pass maybe.
Yes. He was already, he just left, we just left it past pending apprehension.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Danquist is coming in.
Mr. Chapa, do you understand English?
Yes, Your Honor.
He's there, Judge.
Good afternoon, Mr. Dan Costu. I think you're on mute still.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. I quite frankly wasn't expecting to be involved in this case, but he is an old client of mine, Mr. Eric Chapa. And I guess I'm gonna try to help him if I can. I'm not prepared to do anything with him. I haven't talked to this young man, I don't know how long, so. He's in custody and what is he set for, Your Honor?
Well, we're here on a capias hearing. He was set to appear back in January at his final hearing for revocation. And he failed to appear but he appeared on a civil docket, and I guess spoke with Judge Lopez, and he was told, I guess there was another setting the next day, and he was told to reappear and he did not. So I guess they let the capias ride. And here we are.
This was I've known this young man for years, Your Honor. I think he goes back to 2010 or 2011. I forget how long he's been on probation. I believe he was going to be admitted into the drug program, Judge, at one point. And that was the last time that I worked the case. It was supposed to be retained, but never developed. And I'm sure Your Honor familiar with what I'm talking about. Nevertheless, I'm going to try to help him. If you consider resetting this case for us, give me a chance to talk to him.
We'll
He's
do
in custody.
that. Yeah, and I think he may have had something else pending, because if he didn't in the drug,
Out of county court at law, Judge.
yeah, this would have disqualified him from the drug court, I think. This charge, I mean, but anyways. What we'll do then, what's the next setting we can do?
We'll set it August 12th, Mr. Danquist,
August 12th.
at 9 a.m.
At 9. Let me talk to him, Judge, and see if we can, he's local. I know he is, family is. Let me talk to him and then maybe approach the court for consideration of a bond so we can develop this case a little.
Let's see let's see where we are on this. I mean, I'd like, before I said bond, see how far along he was actually in his probation.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, and this is a 2010 case.
Yes, it is long. Like I said, he's been around forever. So.
All right, we'll do that, and the court will consider setting bond at the next setting.
Very well, Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Danquist.
Yes, Your Honor. I'll get in to see Mr. Chapa in custody here in the next couple of days. Thank you, sir.
I'm sure you know the way to the jail.
Yes, Your Honor.
Or now it's soon.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Danquist.
Can be excused, Your Honor.
Yes, thank you.
Thank
and
you.
the parties are excused as well.
Thank you.
Yamero, I think.
Your Honor, from the 49th, we got Jesus Ugarte Jaldon. He needs an interpreter.
Judge, that's going to be a plea. You should have it there. Gracie took it to you?
Yes, Jesus Ugarte Galdon.
Yes.
Let me call the, let me just scratch him off my document and we'll call the case. Well, I guess I don't need to scratch it off.
Rita,
I'm
to
here,
have
Judge.
it
The court calls 2008 CRD 382 D1, State of Texas versus Jesus Ugarte Galdon.
Se está llamando el caso 2008 CRD 382 D1, el Estado contra Jesús Ugarte Galdón.
Who's the defense?
Yeah, yes, Your Honor. Rene Cantu, Judge, we have a plea packet on this case, Your Honor,
No,
and
I
we'd like
have
to
it.
present to the court.
Yeah, I have it in front of me right now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And Mr. Thompson, are you here for the state?
I am, Your Honor. I just wanted to be, to have it known, because this is a confusing charge here. So I want it stated on the record, just so the court has some direction in terms of the order here. This is actually an aggravated felony one. It's not a regular felony one, which means the floor is 10 years to serve. So that's why I made some corrections on the plea. I believe Mr. Cantu is aware of them. I just want to make sure that they appear on the face of the judgment.
Well, yeah, of course, Judge. I mean, I used to prosecute these cases. It's a 10-year minimum. I explained to my client, Judge, and so he's fully aware of the range of punishment.
Okay, and the agreement is 10 for 10, though, from what I'm seeing here, right?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Yes, Your Honor.
And it's, well, yeah, and I was gonna ask about, it says count one, which is possession of a controlled substance, aggravated because of the provisions of the health and safety code.
Right, and I spelled out the actual safety code code section there, and I wrote in there an aggravated felony one, just so the court's aware. And I even put the amount, the 400 grams or more, because a normal felony one is just 200 to 400 grams, but this type of felony one is 400 grams or more. So I just want that spelled out on the face of the judgment.
And it is.
Okay, Judge, let me interrupt. Okay, so when I do the judgment, what do I put felony one aggravated?
You could put felony one, but put the proper, you could put aggravated felony one, I guess, if you'd like, but on there, it should, the code section is being supplied on the face of the plea agreement, and also the proper range is also being supplied. So we want the range listed on the judgment as well. It's 400 or more grams.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so as I understand it, Mr. Haldon requires a interpreter, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, the court's already called the case, so. All right, let's go ahead and kind of do a start over here. So let's go ahead and start interpreting. The court is going to call again 2008 CRD 382 D1, the state of Texas versus Jesus Ugarte Galdón.
Se está llamando el caso 2008 CRD 382 D1, el Estado contra Jesús Ugarte Galdón.
In the appearance of the attorneys for the record.
Yes, Your Honor. Rene Cantu for Mr. Haldón, Your Honor.
Está el señor René Cantú de parte del señor Haldón.
Mr. Haldón, can you hear us okay?
Señor Haldón, ¿usted nos puede escuchar bien?
Did he say yes?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Haldón, I understand from your attorney that you have an agreement with the state of Texas, so there are some things that we have to cover.
Señor Haldón, entiendo que usted tiene un acuerdo con el abogado del estado de Texas. Hay algunas cosas que tenemos que repasar.
The first thing I need to ask you to do is to raise your right hand so you can be sworn in.
Lo primero que le voy a pedir es que levante su mano derecha para que usted pueda ser juramentado.
Do you solemnly swear testimonial given this cause now in trial is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
¿Jura usted que la declaración que está a punto de dar ahora en este juicio será la verdad, toda la verdad y que la ayude Dios? Yes.
Thank you.
Gracias.
And first, is your true and correct name Jesus Ugarte Caldón?
Su nombre verdadero y correcto es Jesús Ugarte Jaldón.
Correcto.
Correct.
And you're here with your attorney, Mr. René Cantú?
¿Y usted está aquí presente con su abogado René Cantú? ¿Su respuesta?
¿Es correcto?
Yes, that's correct.
Have you had an opportunity to talk to your attorney about this case and ask him questions about what is going to happen today?
¿Ha tenido usted la oportunidad de hablar con su abogado y hacerle preguntas en cuanto a lo que va a suceder aquí el día de hoy?
Yes.
Yes.
Are you satisfied with the services that Mr. Cantú has provided you?
¿Usted está satisfecho con los servicios que el señor Cantú le ha dado?
Yes.
Is there anything that I need to hear about that prevents you from understanding what is happening today?
¿Hay algo que usted me deba decir que lo prevenga usted de que esté al tanto de lo que va a continuar el día de hoy?
No, todo está bien.
No, everything is fine.
Mr. Cantú, do you believe your client to be competent to go forward today?
Señor Cantú,
Yes.
¿usted cree que su cliente está competente o es competente para seguir adelante el día de hoy? Sí,
Absolutely, Judge, I do.
claro que sí.
Mr. Haldon, if we go forward with your plea agreement with the state, there are certain rights that you are giving up. I want to cover some of those before we go forward.
Señor Haldón, antes de continuar con su acuerdo que tiene con el Estado, hay algunos derechos que quiero repasar con usted.
And the first right is that you do not have to plead guilty. You have the right. Okay, go ahead.
El primer derecho es de que usted no tiene que presentarse culpable.
You have the right to have a jury decide your case and your punishment.
Usted tiene el derecho de que un jurado pueda repasar su caso y que ellos puedan dictar su castigo.
You have the right to remain silent, and if there are witnesses against you, you have the right to ask them questions during the trial.
Usted tiene el derecho de permanecer en silencio y si hay algunos testigos en su contra, usted tiene derecho de un contrainterrogatorio en ese juicio.
Also, if I go along with the agreement and sentence you along the lines of the agreement, you cannot appeal that punishment unless you get special permission from this court.
Si seguimos adelante con la renuncia de estos derechos. I'm sorry, would you repeat that, please?
Yeah, I'll repeat that. And also, if I sentence you along the agreement that you have with the state of Texas, give you the punishment that you agreed to, you cannot appeal that punishment unless you get special permission from this court.
También si llevo a cabo dentro de el acuerdo, el castigo que usted ya ha entrado en este acuerdo con el estado de Texas, usted no va a poder apelar ese castigo a menos de que usted reciba un permiso especial de este tribunal.
Do you understand that?
¿Queda esto claro?
Yes.
In addition, I have to ask you this question. Are you a U.S. citizen?
Además de eso, tengo que hacerle esta pregunta. ¿Es usted ciudadano de los Estados Unidos?
I need an answer louder.
¿Su respuesta audible?
Can you repeat your answer, please?
Repita su respuesta.
No soy ciudadano de los Estados Unidos.
I am not a citizen of the U.S.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty, to an offense, you run the risk of being deported. You could be denied reentry, and you could also be denied the right to become a naturalized citizen.
¿Entiende usted que si usted se declara culpable, usted corre el peligro de ser deportado, que se le niegue volver a entrar a los Estados Unidos o hasta que se le niegue su derecho a llegar a ser un ciudadano naturalizado?
Yes, entiendo.
Yes, I understand.
And understanding all these risks, do you still want to go forward with your guilty plea?
Ahora que ha entendido todo esto, ¿usted quiere continuar declarándose culpable?
Yes, correcto.
Yes, correct.
Have you had an opportunity to discuss the immigration implications of pleading guilty with your attorney?
¿Usted ha tenido la oportunidad de hablar lo que implica su asunto con inmigración con su abogado? Yes.
In understanding these consequences, do you still want to go forward with your plea?
Y ahora que tiene usted claro, que entiende cuáles son las consecuencias, ¿usted quiere continuar declarándose culpable?
Correcto.
Correct.
Okay. Mr. Cantu, does the defense waive formal reading of the indictment?
Señora Cantú, ¿se está anunciando la lectura de los cargos?
Yes, Your Honor, I've explained the indictment to him myself.
Sí, su señoría, yo ya le he explicado esto a él.
Okay, Mr. Haldon, as to count one, possession of a controlled substance, aggravated felony 1, pursuant to the Health and Safety Code, section 481.115F.
Señora Haldón, en cuanto a la cargo número 1, que es posesión de una sustancia controlada, que es un crimen mayor, número 1, según los estatutos de salud y seguridad, la sección 481.15F.
How do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
¿Cómo se declara? ¿Culpable o inocente? Guilty.
Are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
¿Usted se está declarando culpable libre y voluntariamente? ¿Su respuesta?
Correcto.
That's correct.
Has anybody forced you to plead guilty?
¿Alguien lo ha obligado a declararse culpable?
No, de ninguna manera.
¿Su respuesta?
No, de ninguna manera.
No, not at all.
And aside from the agreement that you have with the state, has anyone promised you anything else?
Aparte del acuerdo que usted tiene con el Estado, ¿alguien le ha prometido alguna otra cosa?
Nada.
Nothing.
Are you pleading guilty because you are accepting responsibility for this offense?
¿Usted se está presentando culpable porque usted está aceptando responsabilidad para esta ofensa? ¿Su respuesta?
Sí.
Yes.
I have in front of me a document labeled States Exhibit Number 1, which is the plea package.
Tengo frente a mí la prueba, el documento de prueba del Estado, que es prueba número 1, que es el documento de su declaración.
Did you go over this document with your attorney?
¿Usted repasó este documento con su abogado?
Sí.
Yes.
And did you sign it?
¿Y usted lo firmó?
Yes.
I heard his response. Are you having trouble hearing his audio?
This is the interpreter, yes.
Mr. Haldon, if you could speak a little bit louder because the interpreter is having trouble hearing you.
Señor Haldón, por favor, hable un poquito más fuerte, ya que tengo dificultad para escucharlo. Yes, I did went over it.
Okay. Do you have any questions about what you signed?
¿Tiene usted alguna pregunta sobre lo que usted ha firmado?
No, todo está claro.
No, everything is clear.
Is the state offering States Exhibit 1 and 2 evidence?
El Estado
Yes, Your
está
Honor.
ofreciendo documento de prueba número 1 que sea admitido como prueba. Sí, su señoría.
Any objections, Mr. Cantu?
No, Your
¿Alguna
Honor, we
pe-
have no objections. No. None.
¿Alguna objeción, señor Cantú? No, ninguna, su señoría.
States Exhibit 1 is admitted.
Prueba de documento número 1 es admitida.
Knowing or having discussed everything that we have, do you still want to go forward with your guilty plea?
Ya que hemos hablado sobre todo esto, ¿usted quiere continuar con su declaración de culpable?
Sí.
Yes.
Mr. Haldon, having heard your testimony and the evidence before the court and the admitted exhibit, the court is going to find you guilty of the offense of possession of a controlled substance, aggravated felony 1 under the Health and Safety Code, section 481.115F. Specifically,
Okay.
in amounts greater than 400 grams or more.
Después de escuchar su declaración y después de que se me ha presentado con las pruebas, el documento de prueba número 1, voy a declararlo o voy a aceptar su declaración de culpable en el cargo número 1, que es posesión de sustancia controlada. Esto es en la sección de seguridad y salud 481.15, que es de 400 gramos o más.
I find that your plea of guilty has been made willingly and voluntarily.
Voy a declarar que su declaración de culpable la está haciendo libre y voluntariamente.
Okay, is there anything we need to cover before moving on to the punishment phase?
¿Hay algo más que tengamos que cubrir antes de que pasemos a la fase del castigo?
Judge,
Well,
I
Your
don't, I
Honor,
don't,
Yeah, I do have, hold on, I'm sorry. Before going on to punishment, Mr. Haldon, I do have to admonish you that the range of punishment for being found guilty for a first-degree felony charge in the state of Texas is confinement in a state prison for a term of 5 to 99 years and a fine not to exceed $10,000.
Señor
Your Honor,
Haldón,
may I be heard?
sí, voy a estar recibiendo su declaración de culpable dentro del alcance del castigo sobre el cargo que usted tiene de crimen mayor. Es con cárcel estatal de 5 a 99 años y hasta una multa de $10,000.
I'm sorry, it's
Yeah.
10 to 99.
Es de 10 a 99 años.
All right, I'm sorry about that, Mr. Thompson. Let me start again. Let me clarify, Mr. Haldon.
Yes, and Your Honor, it may be heard. I just want it to be made known. I made some changes to page 2 of the plea packet after he signed. So I just wanted that to be very clear to him that the minimum would be 10 years on this.
All right, so
Solamente quiero aclarar algo para el señor Haldón. Hice unos cambios en la página 2 de su paquete declaratorio después de que él firmó. Solamente quiero que esté al tanto que el mínimo es de 10 años.
okay, Mr. Haldon, and what we're talking about refers to the range of punishment that you could get if you're found guilty for an aggravated felony 1.
Y señor Haldón, de lo que estamos hablando es el alcance de que usted pudiera tener si se le encuentra culpable por el cargo de delito 1.
That the range of punishment is a term of confinement in a state prison for a term of 10 years to 99 years.
El alcance de castigo es estar confinado en una cárcel estatal de 10 a 99 años.
And that the fine cannot exceed $100,000.
Y la multa no puede excederse de más de $100,000.
Do you understand that? Do you have any questions about that?
¿Le queda esto claro? ¿Tiene usted alguna pregunta?
Todo está bien.
No, everything is fine.
Okay. And having now explained the correct range of punishment, you still want to go forward with your guilty plea.
Ahora que se le ha explicado el alcance de castigo, ¿usted quiere continuar declarándose culpable?
Así es.
Yes.
Okay. Then the court will now accept your plea of guilty and find, and I find that you have made a plea of guilty willingly and voluntarily, and find you guilty of the offense on count 1, the aggravated felony 1, possession of a controlled substance.
Se está aceptando su declaración de culpable y estoy declarando que usted está haciendo su declaración libre y voluntariamente sobre los cargos que usted tiene del crimen mayor, el número 1.
And the court also notes that this is a violation of the health and safety code as indicated for possession of amounts greater than 400 grams.
También se está haciendo la anotación que esto también está en violación o quebranto de las leyes de salud y seguridad, que es la posesión de arriba de 400 gramos.
Is there anything now that we need to cover before moving on to the punishment phase?
¿Hay algo más que tengamos que cubrir antes de pasar a la fase de castigo?
No, Your Honor, not by the defense, no.
Nada por la defensa.
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Hunt,
Nada del Estado.
having found you guilty of the offense of possession of a controlled substance, an aggravated felony 1, the court is going to sentence you along the lines of the agreement you have with the state of Texas.
Ya que se le ha encontrado culpable sobre la posesión de sustancias controladas, que es un crimen mayor agravado, se le está dando su sentencia dentro de las líneas del acuerdo que usted tiene con el Estado.
The court is going to sentence you to 10 years in a state jail prison, in a state prison,
A usted se le está sentenciando por 10 años en una cárcel estatal.
that will be probated for 10 years,
Va a estar bajo probatoria también por 10 años.
there will be a term that has to be served in the county jail for 180 days.
Hay también un lazo de tiempo que tiene que estar sirviendo en una cárcel del condado por 180 días.
And the court will impose a fine of $1,000.
Y también este tribunal le va a dar una multa de $1,000.
The court will also approve 1,000 hours of community service hours
También se le van a aprobar 1,000 horas de servicio comunitario
with 4-for-1 credit,
con crédito de 4x4.
and is that $1,000 fine, is it he see to get credit for the community service hours applied to the fine? Is that what?
Estas,
Oh, okay.
por
No,
ese servicio comunitario.
oh, it's just stated twice. Never mind. Because, yeah, I don't,
May I be heard, Your Honor? I believe it's 1,000 hours of community service, but with the 4-for-1, so, and it's $1,000 fine. However, I believe he's going to be deported, so as long as he stays across the river, I believe he would be unsupervised in his probation.
okay. And what about the 180 days as a condition of probation?
that we're, that I believe he has credit for that already. However, that is part of the agreement.
Okay,
Yeah, that's correct, Judge. He already has, I believe he already has the days, Judge.
okay. Then the court will also approve credit for time served.
Este tribunal también le está aprobando crédito por el tiempo que ya tiene servido.
And is it going to be worth assessing court costs and attorney's fees on this?
No, Judge, I was retained,
Okay,
and if he has any days left over, I guess to go towards any costs that he may incur.
the court will approve that and waive it. Well, what other court costs?
Yes, court costs about $385, Crime Stoppers $50, and $180 of lab fees.
Tiene cargos de uso de tribunal de $385, también para Crime Stoppers de $50 y uso de laboratorio de $180.
And then the time served will also be applied to those costs.
Yes, Your Honor.
El tiempo que lleva servido también va a ser aplicado a esos costos.
I think that's it. Anything further, Mr. Cantu?
No, Judge, I think we covered everything, Judge. Thank
All right.
you. Yes, sir.
Esto creo que ya hemos cubierto todo.
Good luck, Mr. Haldon.
Muy buena suerte, señor Haldon.
All right.
Judge, if I may,
Thank you.
Yes.
Bernard Garcia from the probation department.
Oh, I'm sorry. I keep. Can you bring Mr. Haldon back? Are you going to see him there at the jail, Ms. Garza?
Yes, Your Honor, I just wanted to see if he had a contact number by any chance that I can go ahead and contact him if in case I do not get to process him by today, since it's almost going to be 5.
Can you bring Mr. Haldon back real quick?
I have some contact information for his family. If she wants to call me, I can relay it to her, Judge. I don't know if he knows it, but I have some info.
Mr. Haldon, the probation office is asking if there's a phone number in case they need to reach you. Is there a number, telephone number?
El Departamento de Libertad Condicional, la oficina está pidiendo si usted tiene un número de teléfono donde contactarlo a usted. Yes.
What is that number?
¿Cuál es ese número de teléfono?
Es un telecelular de México. ¿Necesitan un americano?
This is a Mexican cell phone. Do you need an American phone?
Your Honor, if possible, if not, is there any way you can order for them to release him? Well, not to release him until I process him, Your Honor.
¿Se le puede ordenar que no se le dé libertad hasta que yo pase a hablar con él?
When do you think you'll be able to do that, Ms. Garza?
Tomorrow morning, Your Honor, at 8.
Sería para mañana en la mañana a las 8.
Okay, I don't think that's an unreasonable request, Mr. Cantu, just to get everything in order.
Yeah, that's fine, Judge. Again, like I told her, if she wanted to call me, I could give her those numbers that Mr. Haldon was referring to.
The court will order that he detained until tomorrow.
It's fine,
Se
Judge.
va a ordenar que a él se le continúe estando ahí hasta el día de mañana.
Your Honor.
Gracias, señoría.
I have a habit of missing you.
Yeah.
Day. That's it. Thank you, Mr. Haldon.
Thank you, Judge. Maybe excuse Your Honor. That's all I have, Judge.
Thank you. Yes, the attorneys are excused.
Yes, sir.
Who do we have?
Your Honor, we got Antonio Rodriguez III from the 49th. Antonio Rodriguez III.
Page 9.
Court calls 2020 CRD 558D1, the state of Texas versus Antonio Rodriguez III.
I'm present, Your Honor. Richard Gonzalez for the record.
Good afternoon, Mr. Gonzalez.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. It's a pleasure to be here. Mr.
Okay.
Well, considering that you're my neighbor.
Yes, that's true.
But anyway, Mr. Rodriguez is being held on a new offense for a misdemeanor assault, I think on his mother's boyfriend. And the bond was set by Judge Letty Martinez at $9,000. And he's hoping for a PR bond after 30 days, which he was arrested on Tuesday, July the 6th, 2021. So he's been in there about 15 days, I guess. And he wants to know if he can make a bond on the motion to revoke. We're here for just for the arraignment on the motion to revoke. The allegations on the motion to revoke are the new offense, and that he tested positive for drugs, cocaine, alcohol, and marijuana.
Your Honor, if I may,
Yes.
Valerie Villarreal with pretrial judge. Just for the court's information, Mr. Gonzalez is being reappointed on the MTR. The
Okay.
order was already sent to the court.
Is it in the queue? I guess I haven't gotten to the queue today.
I saw it signed yesterday, Judge. I
Okay.
think you already signed it.
What say the state in reference to setting a bond for, well, let's do this first. Mr. Gonzalez, is there an announcement regarding arraignment on the motion to revoke?
Yes, Your Honor, I went personally to the probation office yesterday and I spoke to Ms. Hernandez. She said she would email me a copy of the motion to revoke, which I think she forgot to email me the copy. And so we would request the court to just briefly summarize on the record what the allegations are in the motion to revoke.
Well, does the state have that? I don't have the file in front of me, but.
Oh, well, that's all right, Your Honor. We'll waive formal reading of the motion to revoke because as I understand it, the defendant received a copy inside the jail. And we will plead not true for the time being and request another hearing date, Your Honor, for the hearing on the merits of the motion to revoke.
Well, I think it's set right now for August 27th.
That's fine, Your Honor. August 27th at what time, Your Honor?
Excuse me, Judge. That was the date that was given when the MTR was filed, but they picked him up before August 27th. Is he gonna stay? If he stays in custody, that's not a custody date. So
Okay.
August 12th. Richard, August 12th.
Well, okay, before we set it then, hold on. What does the state say in reference to setting a bond on this case?
Judge, given the new violent offense that defendant picked up on July 6, 2021, and that he was already on probation for the aggravated assault, we would be opposed to a bond at this time.
Your Honor, can I find out who the assistant DA is going to be on the motion to revoke and on the new offense? If that's possible.
Judge, it's going to be handled by the domestic violence unit. Both cases are in the domestic violence unit.
Mr. Guajardo, right? Does he?
Either Mr. Guajardo or someone else in the unit. Ms. Doyos is also present, Judge.
Okay.
Yes, Judge, I am present. I believe Mr. Guajardo will be handling the MTR for the 49th. I haven't seen the new case that's coming in for the defendant. I'll make sure to go ahead and check to see who's going to be handling that case.
That's fine, Your Honor.
Yeah,
We just need another court date.
well, I think our next in custody is August 12th, so that's not that far away.
Okay, August 12th at what time, Your Honor?
9 a.m.
At 9 a.m.?
Yes,
And that's gonna be with Judge Garcia?
Judge Lopez.
Okay, that's all I have, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Gonzalez. Good to see you.
Thank you, Your Honor. It was a pleasure,
All right, thank you, Mr. Gonzalez.
even though I had to wait a while.
The parties and the attorneys are excused. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
It's the luck of the draw. Jail holds all the cards. Who do we have on the fourth floor now? Oh, same defendant. I feel relaxed, but I guess I'm in a bad mood. I haven't given anybody a bond today. So that's not usually the case, Mr. Trevino. You know that.
There's hope, Your Honor. There's still a few more cases.
Ask one.
Who's that?
Your Honor, for the 49, Alicia Sotelo.
Page 6, Judge.
The court calls 2020 CRO 1816 D1, State of Texas versus Sara Alicia Sotelo.
Your Honor, Fred Trevino from Ms. Sotelo. This is a motion to revoke initial appearance when it's with the capias. And so at this time, my client pleads not true, waives formal reading of the application for revocation and requests a final hearing. Also, I've already been speaking with the state, and we have an offer. I need to convey the offer to Ms. Sotelo, and either way, it involves either time to serve or some sort of rehabilitation. So we're just requesting a final hearing date, Your Honor.
And Your Honor, if I may, I apologize a little late. Just for the court's information, the Public Defender's Office is being reappointed.
No, I have them. Okay.
You haven't signed the order yet, Judge. Should I walk it downstairs for you?
If is it on, well, you can put it on the queue. I know that might be quicker if you put it on the queue, but you're free to bring it down. Yeah, go ahead and bring it down and I'll sign everything. I've got all the other orders to finish signing. The court will appoint the Public Defender's Office to the motion to revoke. And so you want this set for a final hearing date, Mr. Trevino?
Yes. Yes, Your Honor.
I think we're looking at the 12th of August,
Yes, Judge.
9 a.m.
Yes, Judge.
Anything further, Mr. Trevino?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Sotelo, you'll be back in court probably with Judge Lopez. No, I'm sure with Judge Lopez on the 12th of August. Okay? All right. Good luck, ma'am.
Yeah.
Judge, if you go to page 4 on the top. Yeah. I don't know if we gave her a date. They didn't bring her out, remember? She was aggressive.
Oh, Yeah, I haven't called this case. Do I need to call it and then just set it for something, reset it?
Your Honor, it's set for status because we're waiting for them to, she's already been ordered to, for competency restoration. So we just reset for status and find out if they're gonna, when and if they're taking her.
You should have the report already, Fred. I had emailed it to you.
Yes, we have the report.
Oh, okay.
And I believe the judge has already ordered the status. I mean, he's already ordered the competency to be restored. We just need her to be, we just waiting now for the state to come get her. It's gonna be a while.
So, Alma, do we just set it for another status hearing?
Yes. She's just gonna be, do you want, how far along, Fred?
Right now, I don't even know where she is on the list to go. It's gonna be a while.
So she was found to be incompetent?
She's been found incompetent, Your Honor.
Why don't we set it for the, what was that? No, it's not, the 19th is a regular docket.
And she's always been too aggressive to come to court.
But do we need to bring her out to advise her that or how does the state hospital find out? Or I don't know.
I thought the judge already ordered. Can we check let me check the record, the docket, if the judge has ordered it or not.
So do you want to set it just for another status hearing?
Yes.
August 12th?
Hold on. Let me see if the judge has already ordered her competency restored. I thought he did already. I don't know if the district clerks have already sent or I don't know who sends the information to the state hospital.
Mr. Trevino, was the order already filed and signed by the judge? Because I
I'm not
don't
sure.
see it in the docket.
That's what I'm checking. I thought it was, but if not, we'll have to submit the order.
Okay, once you submit it, we'll go ahead and fax it.
Okay, then we'll do that then.
Okay.
So do you want that August 12th or further down?
Further down.
Like in September?
That's fine.
Okay, it'll be September 15th at 9 a.m. with Judge Lopez.
Status hearing?
Yes.
Thank you.
And I think that's all we have, right?
What did we do with Carlos Madrigal?
Oh, he was not brought out also because he was aggressive.
Okay.
They weren't gonna bring him out. I guess you need to call that case, Judge also. He's on page 3.
Well, yeah, I have some other, well, the court calls 2016 CRJ 1397D1 State of Texas versus Carlos Madrigal. No, I have that he was in quarantine.
Last time we had court, he was in quarantine, so they didn't bring him out. So now they're telling us that he's very aggressive.
Okay.
So they didn't bring him.
That is correct, Your Honor. He's been aggressive, trying to stop out of his cell, urine, feces and all that.
Okay, so let's, yeah, I guess we'll reset it for the 12th as well.
Yes, Judge.
August 12th, 9 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Any other cases we need to call on the 49th docket?
No, Judge, I think we took care of all of them.
Your Honor, on the 341st, page 1, I was informed that Alex Calixto is in quarantine.
Yes, that one I have a note that he's on.
Okay, and I have one more case pending. Roberto Botello Jr. is on page 5.
2020 CRI 1312 D3 State of Texas versus Roberto Botello Jr. not
That
sure.
one, I don't know, Your Honor, if he's in quarantine.
Will
What
he be
about-
let out?
We had several that if they weren't in quarantine, they were being aggressive.
This was a KP's hearing.
Your Honor, I don't believe I have anything further before the court. May I be excused?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
So what happened with Mr. Boteo, Roberto? Was he one of the violent ones as well?
No, I didn't hear his name.
It's on page 5 of the 341st docket.
I don't know if the jail has any information.
Do you all have any information on Mr. Boteo?
And the jail, the jail already left? Oh, no, he's right there. He's right there.
Yes, sir. I wasn't in charge of this floor, so I don't have any information. Let me go ahead and contact Corporal Reyes.
Ms. Nada?
Yes, Your Honor, this was a KP's hearing, but it's with Ms. Sandoval and she's not here. He was KP's on June 17.
What case was that, Miss Jackie?
It was for Roberto Botello.
And also on page 6, we have Zaida Guadalupe Vasquez. I don't think we call that case either.
He's in quarantine, Your Honor.
Okay. Well, so
Mr. Reyes advising that the 31st, or they called Ruben Boteo was reset.
Okay, that Botello, that's Ruben Botello on page 1.
Ruben Boteo Jr.
Yes, that was reset to August 12, and the other one is Roberto Botello. That's another,
Roberto Boteo.
yes.
Ruben Botello was reset. Roberto Botello is still pending.
I can reset it to August 3rd, Your Honor.
let's do that then, August 3rd.
Yes, because I don't have him in my list.
Okay, thank you.
And the
May I be
same,
excused, Your Honor?
yes, thank you. I think that does it for everyone, doesn't it?
Yes, Your Honor.
I believe so, Your Honor.
Well, hold on. Alma, this other setting bond for Andre Jean Courtois. Oh, I think that I did take that up. I denied it, didn't I, for Mr. Sosa? Well,
What page?
well, no, this was separate.
Oh, okay.
Alma, is one of the documents you handed me? She gone?
She's still there. Alma.
Well, Mr. Sosa is long gone and the client's not there, so I'll bring it up with her tomorrow. All right, everyone, thank you. I know it was a long day,
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
everyone, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Okay. Bye.
So, all of you. Thank you. Thanks at the jail.
Bye.
So long, everyone. Thank you, Annette. too.
Thank you. Bye-bye, y'all.
Now you go back to eating your salad or whatever.
No, I'm starving.
I had a morning civil docket and I didn't have time to, so my ribs are showing.
Wish mine were.
I wish mine were too. They're not showing. All right. See you
Bye.
next time on